Chapter 2393. Brat, so it's you. The goat-horned demon immediately recognized Mo Qingyun when he saw him. A wicked smile appeared on his goat face. I didn't expect to meet you here after not seeing you for a few years. This is truly a surprise. Behind the goat-horned demon, the ox-horned demon, the crane demon, and the others also sneered. You destroyed our statues in the incense forest back then. You didn't expect to meet us again, did you? A few years ago, I couldn't find him in the Heavenly Soul Demon clan. I didn't expect to meet him here. I also didn't expect to meet this brat here. This really is, as the saying goes, one can wear out iron shoes in a fruitless search, only to find it by chance. Capture this brat and take the gate of creation from him. Then we can leave the wasteland continent. Looking at Mo Qingyun in front of them, the devils were pleasantly surprised. They were all extremely excited. At the same time, they looked at Mo Qingyun with covetous eyes. After sizing up Mo Qingyun, the goat-horned devil's expression suddenly changed. A wisp of surprise flashed through his eyes. He said, "Your cultivation has actually broken through to the saint realm. This cultivation speed is truly shocking." Hearing the goat-horned demon's words, the tiger-headed demon and the others immediately revealed shocked expressions. In just a short dozen years, he broke through from the true immortal realm to the saint realm. It must be because of the gate of creation. The gate of creation is truly miraculous. I didn't expect it to have such an ability. We absolutely can't let him escape today. Immediately capture him. Seeing the change in Mo Qingyun's cultivation, the demon's covetous eyes immediately became even more intense. In their opinion, if they obtained the gate of creation, their cultivation would also skyrocket. Hearing the words of the demons behind him, the goat-horned demon raised his head and said with an overbearing attitude, "Brat, obediently hand over the gate of creation, and I can give you a quick death. Later, you won't have to suffer any physical pain." "I'm sorry, but I can't hand over the gate of fortune, and I won't hand it over to you." With regards to the goat-horned demon's request, Mo Qingyun directly rejected it. Following which, his expression turned cold as he said, "Because of you, Ting Xiao developed enmity towards me, which led to Ting Xia severely injuring Ling Long. I will settle this score with you." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Linglong's beautiful eyes moved. She understood what Mo Qingyun meant. It turned out that when Mo Qingyun said that he would take her to settle accounts with some people, he was referring to these people in front of her. While Qian Linglong was surprised, she was also moved. Her eyes became a little moist as she thought, "Who would have thought that when I was seriously injured, he would always remember it in his heart? It turns out that I already have a place in his heart." At this moment, Qian Linglong's feelings for Mo Qingyun became even deeper. She had always misunderstood. It wasn't that Mo Qingyun didn't care about her, but that Mo Qingyun wasn't good at expressing himself. "Brat, from what you've said, it seems like you want to take revenge on us?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's reply, the goat-horned demon was stunned at first. Following which, he mocked Mo Qingyun and said, "Did you guys hear that? This brat said he wants to settle the score with us. Are you guys scared?" "Scared? I'm so scared. What if I'm scared to death? This brat is a saint stage powerhouse. He's really too strong. How can we resist him? Yeah. With our Nebula Realm strength, I'm afraid we won't be a match for him." For a moment, the demons of the Nine Saints Hall sneered with disdain. The smile on Mo Qingyun's face deepened when he saw how the goat-horned demon and the others were behaving. He said, "You're right. I've indeed come looking for you today for revenge." After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, his expression turned cold and a murderous aura emanated from his body. Under the shroud of Mo Qingyun's murderous aura, some of the people around him were forced to retreat. Their faces were filled with shock. They realized that under the shroud of Mo Qingyun's murderous aura, they felt as if their souls had left their bodies. "This brat is really scary. No wonder he dares to seek revenge on the Nine Saints Hall. Although this brat is only a Saint Stage cultivator, the aura he exudes is no weaker than the people of the Nine Saints Hall. We underestimated him just now. He came here to seek revenge because he has a card up his sleeve. He isn't seeking his own death. Sensing Mo Qingyun's aura, the people around him were shocked and started pointing at him. Under the shroud of Mo Qingyun's murderous aura, not only were the people around him shocked, but the goat-horned demon and the others were also shocked. Following which, the goat-horned demon and the others' expressions immediately turned serious. They stopped looking down on Mo Qingyun. There's something wrong with this brat. Did I miss something? Noticing that something was wrong with Mo Qingyun, the goat-horned demon's expression flickered as he stared fixedly at Mo Qingyun. From his actions, it seemed that he wanted to see through Mo Qingyun and see if Mo Qingyun was bluffing. Unfortunately, Mo Qingyun was like a pool of stagnant water. He couldn't see through him at all. Seeing that he couldn't see through Mo Qingyun's strength, the goat-horned demon's expression turned serious. He said coldly, "Brat, I admit that I underestimated you. But you think too highly of yourself if you think that you can fight against us with your Saint Stage cultivation. Whether I think too highly of myself or not, you'll know when I make my move." Mo Qingyun responded coldly to the goat-horned demon's words. He then swept his gaze over the 9 goat-horned demons and said, "No need to talk nonsense. Who among the 9 of you will be the first to step forward and die? Brat, don't be so arrogant. I'll take you on first." Under Mo Qingyun's provocation, the tiger-headed demon, who had the worst temper, walked out from the group. The tiger-headed demon walked out of the group and released his early Nebula Realm aura without reservation. Under the pressure of the tiger-headed demon's aura, Mo Qingyun's expression didn't change at all. He said coldly, "Since you're in a hurry to die, I'll kill you first." The tiger-headed demon didn't retort at Mo Qingyun's words. Instead, he directly launched an attack at Mo Qingyun. Tyrannical tiger sky-shaking pounce. The tiger-headed demon bent his body slightly and pounced on Mo Qingyun like a hungry tiger pouncing on its prey. As the tiger-headed demon pounced, a terrifying wave of Saint Force erupted from his body. The Saint Force erupted and turned into a golden tiger shadow. It swung its paw at Mo Qingyun. When the golden tiger shadow swung its paw, the sky and earth changed color as if they were about to be shattered by the tiger shadow's paw. Seeing the tiger-headed demon's attack, the surrounding people's expressions changed drastically. Their faces were filled with awe. Chapter 2394. Tiger Head is really impatient. Is he going to kill that kid? It's boring to kill him directly. I want to play with him. I think Hu Tu did the right thing. Just kill him to avoid any more trouble. Seeing the tiger head demon attack, the goat horn demon and the others sneered and made sarcastic remarks. Mo Qingyun's expression did not change at all in the face of the tiger head demon's attack. Contempt appeared on his face as he said, "Although your superpower is powerful, its power is not worth mentioning. This kind of superpower that only has external power but no internal power can't hurt me." Fire of civilization, demonic star-splitting palm. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he began to counterattack with a domineering palm. As Mo Qingyun waved his palm, a flaming palm shadow blasted out from his hand. Then, the giant flaming palm crushed toward the tiger head demon. Bang! Faced with the bombardment of the giant flaming palm, the tiger shadow was instantly defeated and dissipated in midair. After the tiger head demon was defeated, the flaming palm shadow's attack did not decrease and continued to crush the tiger head demon. Then, everyone saw the tiger head demon being drowned by the giant flaming palm. Boom! The flaming palm shadow drowned the tiger head demon and smashed into the ground, causing the entire mountain to shake. When the flaming palm hit the ground, it left a huge palm print on the ground, and a terrifying flame surged out of it. Seeing this scene, the surrounding people were shocked. Everyone was stunned and stood in place with their eyes wide open. They did not expect Emo Qingyun's strength to be so terrifying. His first attack was so destructive that it could shake the earth and shake the mountains. At this moment, the surroundings suddenly became silent. It was so quiet that even the sound of breathing could be heard. They were all frightened by Emo Qingyun. After a while, when the flame in the palm print dissipated, the tiger head demon's figure appeared. At this moment, his body was covered with burns like a roasted pig. Seeing the tiger head demon's injuries, the goat horn demon and the others were shocked. They were so scared that their faces turned pale. Tiger head can't even withstand one attack from him. How can this kid be so powerful? Is he really at the Saint Realm? Why does it feel like he's at the galaxy grade? We've underestimated this kid. Let's attack him together. After witnessing Emo Qingyun's strength, the goat horn demon and the others put away their contempt and surrounded Emo Qingyun. They knew very well that they were no match for Emo Qingyun with their individual strength. Want to come at me together? The corners of Emo Qingyun's lips curled up as he watched the goat horn demon and the others' actions. His eyes were filled with disdain. Everyone who wanted to get rid of him seemed to be like this. At first, they were disdainful of him. A cannon fodder had walked out to die, but when they saw that the cannon fodder was no match for him, they wanted to attack together. So be it. It'll save me a lot of trouble to deal with them all at once. After mocking them, Emo Qingyun felt relieved. He took the initiative to charge at the 8 goat horn demons. Seeing Emo Qingyun take the initiative to attack, the expressions of the goat horn demons changed greatly, as if they were facing a great enemy. Holy Glory Theurgy, Ignite. Dragon Source Overlord Body. Facing the 8 goat horn demons at the same time, Emo Qingyun did not dare to be careless. He immediately executed 2 great Theurgies. Then, a terrifying thunderbolt power erupted from his body. When this thunderbolt power appeared, it enveloped the goat horn demons and the others, bombarding them wildly. In a short moment, 2 of the goat horn demons and the others were injured by the thunderbolt. Bang bang bang, however, before they could calm down and defend against the thunderbolt's bombardment, flames ignited on their bodies. When these flames appeared, they burned the 8 goat horn demons and soon burned them. What kind of freak is this kid? How can he have such a powerful theurgy? We have to get out of here. The suppression of our strength is too great in these 2 domains. Retreat. This kid is too strange. I'm afraid we can't deal with him. After witnessing Emo Qingyun's means, the goat horn demons and the others were shocked and were unwilling to continue fighting. They had a feeling that if they continued fighting, they might really be defeated. Upon seeing that the goat horn demons and the others were about to leave, the corners of Emo Qingyun's mouth curled up slightly as he said coldly, "Humph! Since I'm here to settle the score, how can I let you escape? None of you can leave today. Kid, don't talk nonsense. You can't stop us if we want to leave." Upon hearing Emo Qingyun's words, the goat horn demons immediately retorted, expressing their disdain for Emo Qingyun. However, before he could finish speaking, his mouth opened wide and he froze on the spot. He saw a gigantic black tortoise, exuding an aura that could destroy the heavens and earth, standing above them. Galaxy grade. The Xuanwu above them was a galaxy-grade powerhouse. This Xuanwu. Could he be that kid's helper? This can't be real. How could that kid have such a powerful helper? No, I don't want to die yet. This can't be real. Upon seeing Enchun appear, the goat horn demons and the others were so frightened that their faces turned ashen. They knew very well that given their strength, they definitely weren't a match for Enchun. Coupled with Emo Qingyun, the 2 of them could definitely kill them if they joined forces. After thinking about this, the goat horn demons smiled apologetically and begged Emo Qingyun for mercy. "Little brother, if we offended you in any way in the past, I hope you can be magnanimous and spare us this time. Can you give us a chance to apologize?" After hearing what the goat horn demons said, the feather crane demons and the others all begged Emo Chinyun for mercy. Apologize. Upon hearing the pleas of the goat horn demons and the others, Emo Chinyun smiled faintly and said, "All right, since you sincerely want to apologize, you can pay with your lives." As soon as Emo Chinyun said that, his face darkened and the killing intent he exuded intensified. These people had indirectly caused the disappearance of Long Hanyen. He definitely would not let that go. "Why, you've gone too far." The goat horn demons immediately became furious when he saw Emo Chingyun's attitude. His face paled. Although he was extremely furious, he dared not attack. He immediately fled into the distance. In his opinion, it was best to leave as soon as possible while there were people blocking the attack. Otherwise, if everyone was killed later, he would not have any chance to flee even if he wanted to. "Unchun, stop the people who flee. If you let one go, you'll be held accountable." Emo Chingyun's face became stern when he saw that the goat horn demons and the others wanted to flee. He immediately gave Unchun a death order. Unchun leapt in fright when he heard Emo Chingyun's order. He realized the severity of the matter. In his interactions with Emo Chinyun was rather easygoing. He rarely warned his servants sternly. Chapter 2395. With Enchen's understanding of Emo Chinyun, since Emo Chinyun said so, he definitely wasn't joking with him. If he really let one of them go, Emo Chinyun might take his life to vent his anger in his rage. He was unwilling to use his own life to replace the goat horn demon and the others. When Enchern thought of this, he focused his attention and was fully on guard against the goat horn demon and the others escaping. "Want to leave? Come back obediently." Seeing that the goat horn demon wanted to escape, Enchen's expression turned cold. He raised his hand and extended a palm at the goat horned demon. Under Enchen's raised hand, a domineering palm shadow blasted out from his claws. A huge palm shadow blasted out and enveloped the goat horned demon, forcefully capturing him. Don't kill me." Seeing that he was captured, the goat horned demon was immediately alarmed and hurriedly begged Enchern for mercy. However, Enchern chose to ignore his begging and immediately sealed his cultivation. To Enchern, as long as he didn't let the goat horned demon and the others escape, he would have completed Emo Chingyun's instructions. As for sealing the goat horned demon and the others' cultivation, that wasn't too important. After capturing the goat horned demon, Enchern didn't stop and attacked another person. Facing Enchen's powerful attack, that person was forcefully captured in the blink of an eye like the goat horned demon. When Enchern captured the two people, Emo Chinyun didn't stay idle and killed the feather crane demon. Old Crane. Seeing the feather crane demon killed, the goat horn demon and the others' expressions changed drastically. Shock and fear appeared on their faces. Previously, when Emo Chinyun dealt with the tiger-headed demon, he only seriously injured him and didn't directly kill him. Now that Emo Chinyun dealt with the feather crane demon, he directly killed him. This was completely different. This meant that if Emo Chinyun wanted to deal with them, it wouldn't be as simple as seriously injuring them. The goat horn demon and the others didn't know that when Emo Chinyun killed Ting Xiao, he knew who was controlling Ting Xiao. It was precisely because of this that when Emo Chinyun dealt with the crane feather devil, he did not show any mercy at all. In Emo Chinyun's eyes, it was because of this crane feather demon that caused Ting Xia to severely injure Qian Linglong. After killing the crane feather devil, Emo Chingyun's offensive did not decrease in the slightest, charging towards the ox-headed devil again. Seeing Emo Chinyun coming at him, the Minotaur's expression immediately turned ferocious. He roared, "Brat, don't go too far. If you force me into a corner, we'll just have to fight to the death." "Are you threatening me?" Hearing the Minotaur's words, Emo Chinyun smiled contemptuously. He didn't take it to heart at all. With the wrongs that the goat horn demon and the others had committed, no matter what they said or did, he would not show mercy. Since you have no other last words, then accept your death obediently. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, his expression darkened and he charged straight at the Minotaur demon. Upon seeing Mo Qingyun charging at him, the Minotaur's expression turned even more ferocious as he roared, "Brat, you forced me to do this. Just you wait and you'll regret it." Stealing the sky, swapping the sun, Ox breaks the cosmos. As soon as the ox-head devil roared, he unleashed a divine ability. Then, the Minotaur's eyes turned blood-red and the aura on his body started to surge. Based on the Minotaur's behavior, it seemed like he wanted to self-destruct and perish together with Mo Qingyun. "Master, retreat quickly. He wants to self-destruct and perish together with you." Upon seeing the Minotaur's actions, Enchun was alarmed and hurriedly reminded Mo Qingyun. As Enchun spoke, he immediately transformed into his human form and shrunk his body size. Although he had a galaxy-grade cultivation base, he would still suffer considerable damage from the self-destruction of a nebula-grade powerhouse. Upon hearing Enchun's words, Mo Qingyun was startled and hurriedly retreated. Door of Death. As Mo Qingyun retreated, he did not dare hesitate and immediately executed his mystic ability. As Mo Qingyun made his move, a gloomy and icy power quickly condensed in his palm. This power converged and turned into several black light doors that blasted towards the Minotaur and the others. "It's too late to stop me." As the door of death approached, the Minotaur's body suddenly exploded and turned into a golden light that shot into the sky. Under the bombardment of the golden light, a large hole was immediately pierced through the starry sky and expanded bit by bit. Under Mo Qingyun's observation, the hole expanded to a diameter of 1,000 miles before it stopped expanding. Upon seeing this, Mo Qingyun's face was filled with shock. At the same time, he was somewhat puzzled. What exactly is the Minotaur trying to do by executing this mystic ability? Mo Qingyun frowned as he looked at the huge hole in the starry sky. His heart was filled with puzzlement as he thought to himself, "The Minotaur's self-destruction is definitely not to commit suicide or attack me. There must be a secret behind this." In his opinion, given the Minotaur's intelligence and behavior, he would definitely not be so foolish as to commit suicide. Boom, boom, boom. While Mo Qingyun was still in shock, the remaining deer-headed demon and the others were sealed by the door of death. After being sealed, the bodies of the deer-headed demon and the others started to turn white and their bodies emitted a deathly aura. Not long after, the bodies of the deer-headed demon and the others turned white and they started to turn into sand bit by bit. In the blink of an eye, the deer-headed demon and the others, who had been sealed by the door of death, disappeared before everyone's eyes. Upon seeing this, the surrounding onlookers were all stunned. What kind of mystic ability is this? Its power is actually so domineering. Under the suppression of the door of light, the deer-headed demon and the others, who were at the nebula realm, were actually annihilated. Mo Qingyun is really too frightening. What kind of freak is this guy? How could his strength be so terrifying? Those fellows from the Nine Saints Temple made a huge mistake by provoking him. Seeing the fate of the deer-headed demon and the others, the surrounding onlookers were filled with emotion and couldn't help but sympathize with the goat-horn demon and the others. These fellows could be considered extremely unlucky to have encountered an enemy like Mo Qingyun. Under the shocked gazes of the crowd, Mo Qingyun turned his head to look at the goat-horn demon and slowly walked towards them. Don't come over." Seeing Mo Qingyun slowly approaching, the goat-horn demon's expression changed drastically and he uttered words of terror. Mo Qingyun chose to ignore the goat-horn demon and the others' pleas for mercy and raised his hand to smash their heads. Don't. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, the goat-horn demon and the others immediately panicked and their eyes widened in pain. However, before they could finish their words, they were killed under Mo Qingyun's palm with despair and fear. After killing the goat-horn demon and the others, Mo Qingyun threw their corpses into the Fortune mainland. They were all Nebula Realm experts, and throwing their corpses away was too wasteful. They could be refined into spiritual puppets. Chapter 2396. While Mo Qingyun was sizing up the Ice Palace, he released his spirit power and tried to penetrate the Ice Palace. When Mo Qingyun's spirit power came into contact with the Ice Palace's array formation, it was forcefully stopped. At the same time, a terrifying soul power crushed towards his soul power. What a terrifying spirit power! Mo Qingyun was startled when he was attacked by this spirit power. He quickly withdrew his spirit power. Even so, his spiritual sea and primordial spirit still suffered a great impact. Struck by the soul force, Mo Qingyun immediately turned pale and spat out a mouthful of blood. Mo Qingyun's eyes were filled with shock as he looked at the Ice Palace. He was certain that the spirit power that had attacked him had definitely surpassed the galaxy grade. More importantly, he had a feeling that the owner of that spirit power was still in a deep slumber. If a wisp of spirit power without consciousness could possess such terrifying might, one could only imagine how strong the owner of this spirit power was. This person's peak strength might have surpassed the celestial domain grade. The more Mo Qingyun thought about it, the more apprehensive he became. At the same time, he started to worry. If we enter the Ice Palace and the owner of the Ice Palace suddenly wakes up and tries to kill us, wouldn't we be in great danger? Boom! Boom! Just as Mo Qingyun was worrying, a deafening sound was heard from the entrance of the Ice Palace. Then, everyone saw the doors of the Ice Palace open little by little. As the doors of the Ice Palace opened, Mo Qingyun sensed the familiar aura again. This is the aura of the Dark Sky Sacred Sect and the Mysterious Sky Sacred Tribe. While Mo Qingyun was surprised, Chen, who was hiding between his eyebrows, uttered a word of surprise. Upon hearing Chen's words, Mo Qingyun was stunned. Then, he asked curiously, Chen, do you know the origin of this Ice Palace? What is the origin of the Mysterious Sky Sacred Tribe? Master, I'm not sure about the origins of the Profound Sky Saint clan and the Ice Palace. Chen replied helplessly when he heard Mo Qingyun's question. He then added, however, from what I remember, the Kong Profound Heaven Holy Clan and the Diablo Heaven Holy Clan are mortal enemies. Once you enter, don't activate the Diablo Heaven Holy Clan's bloodline. Otherwise, there might be great trouble. The mortal enemy of the Dark Heaven Holy Clan? From Chen's words, Mo Qingyun obtained some information and speculated. It seems like the origin of the Mysterious Sky Holy Clan is the same as the Dark Heaven Holy Clan. They both came from the mysterious heaven world. After discovering this, Mo Qingyun was even more puzzled. He muttered to himself, why would the experts of the Dark Heaven Holy Gate and the Profound Heaven Holy Clan appear in the Desolate Continent? What secrets does the Desolate Continent have? With great confusion and curiosity, Mo Qingyun and Qian Linglong walked into the Ice Palace together. After entering the Ice Palace, Missouri Qingyun realized how vast the Ice Palace was. It wasn't much different from the Dark Spirit Abyss. Furthermore, the structure of the Ice Palace was even more mysterious. What a strange feeling. Why would I have such a feeling? While Mo Qingyun was surprised, Qian Linglong frowned and looked puzzled. When he saw Qian Linglong frowning, Mo Qingyun asked curiously, Linglong, what's wrong? Did you find something wrong? No. Qian Linglong shook her head. Her pretty eyebrows were still tightly knitted as she said, when I entered this Ice Palace, I felt a force guiding me to a certain place. You have such a feeling? When he heard Qian Linglong's words, Mo Qingyun was shocked at first. Then, he was pleasantly surprised and said, Linglong, if I am not wrong, this Ice Palace might be a great opportunity for you. Really? After hearing Mo Qingyun's explanation, Qian Linglong's pretty face lit up. Her expression also became excited. Mo Qingyun nodded in response to Qian Linglong's question and said, Since you have such a feeling, don't resist it. Let's follow its guidance. Okay. Qian Linglong nodded her head and no longer resisted the guidance. She slowly walked deeper into the ice palace. After a few hours, they arrived at an ice lake. They saw strange ice sculptures standing in the middle of the lake. I feel that there is a force attracting me from the center of these ice sculptures. Qian Linglong stood at the edge of the ice lake. She had a grave expression on her face as she pointed at the center of the ice sculptures. When Emo Qingyun heard Qian Linglong's words, he nodded his head and gave her an encouraging look. With Emo Qingyun's encouragement, Qian Linglong no longer hesitated and walked towards the center of the ice lake. Crack, crack, crack. When Qian Linglong walked to the center of the ice sculptures suddenly moved and released a terrifying force. When the terrifying force appeared, it rushed towards Qian Linglong as if it wanted to kill her. Linglong, be careful. When he saw this, Emo Qingyun was shocked and immediately flew towards Qian Linglong. However, when Emo Qingyun stepped into the ice lake, he was sent flying by a terrifying force. What a powerful force! After being sent flying by the force, Emo Qingyun was shocked and he looked at Qian Linglong worriedly. At this moment, he could not help but feel a little regretful. He should not have let Qian Linglong take the risk. When Emo Qingyun felt regret, he clenched his fists and thought to himself, if anything happens to Linglong, I will slaughter the entire sacred tribe of Kongxian Heaven and let them die with her. Under Emo Qingyun's nervous gaze, the force released by the ice sculptures hit Qian Linglong. When the force landed on Qian Linglong, it wrapped around her and lifted her up. As Qian Linglong's body floated in the air, her bloodline and Saint Power star cluster were all stimulated. From this situation, it seemed that the force was not meant to harm Qian Linglong but to test her talent. Phew! Seeing this scene, Emo Qingyun took a deep breath, and his hanging heart finally relaxed. It seemed that his previous speculation was right. The Ice Palace might be an opportunity for Qian Linglong. In other words, the moment Qian Linglong entered the Ice Palace, she had been chosen by the master of the Ice Palace. When Emo Qingyun thought of this, he clenched his fists and felt excited and happy for Qian Linglong. From Enchen's tone, Emo Qingyun could tell that the sacred tribe of Kongxian Heaven was extremely powerful. It was a great fortune for Qian Linglong to receive such an inheritance. Chapter 2397. Seeing that Qian Linglong was no longer in danger, Emo Qingyun was relieved. He sat down cross-legged and immersed himself in his cultivation. Qian Linglong's talent test had ended and it would take some time. He could take the opportunity to recover from his injuries. He had to recover from the soul injury he suffered at the entrance of the Ice Palace and the impact he had just received. While Emo Qingyun was immersed in his cultivation, illusory figures floated out of Qian Linglong's body. If Emo Qingyun were to see this scene, he would definitely be greatly shocked. At this moment, the figures that floated out of Qian Linglong's body were Long Hanyan, Murong Qinyu and the other girls. As the figures of the girls appeared, a cold voice came from the bottom of the ice lake. It said, "This little girl's body indeed has the blood of the mysterious Heaven Holy tribe. Although the concentration of the blood is very thin, it is still barely enough to accept my inheritance." As the voice fell, the surrounding ice sculptures began to shine brightly and condensed into a strange snowflake mark. When the snowflake mark was formed, it flew towards Qian Linglong's glabella and sank into her celestial spirit. Then, a snowflake mark appeared on Qian Linglong's glabella and exuded a holy aura. The snowflake mark was branded on Qian Linglong's glabella. Her bloodline and Saint Power star cluster, as well as the shadow of Long Hanyan and the other girls, returned to her body. At the same time, the radiance on the ice sculptures dimmed rapidly. After a while, everything returned to normal and Qian Linglong regained her consciousness. The inheritance is at the bottom of the ice lake. When Qian Linglong regained her consciousness, She was shocked and could not help but look at her feet. Qian Linglong glanced at the bottom of her feet before she looked at Emo Qingyun and quickly walked to the edge of the ice lake. Sensing Qian Linglong's approach, Emo Qingyun opened his eyes and stopped cultivating. How is it? Has the inheritance ended? Seeing Qian Linglong come to his side, Emo Qingyun was concerned and immediately asked her. No. In response to Emo Qingyun's question, Qian Linglong shook her head and said, Senior Lan Lu's body was severely injured by the experts of the Dark Heaven Holy Clan. There is terrifying dark saint power in her body. She did not want her body to be completely contaminated by the dark saint power, so she sealed her body. Dark Heaven Holy Clan experts were severely injured? Hearing Qian Linglong's words, Emo Qingyun's face was filled with shock. He immediately made some connections and said, Could it be that the experts in the Dark Spirit Abyss have some connection with the master of this ice palace? In Emo Qingyun's opinion, there should be some kind of connection between the two Heaven Realm powerhouses dying in the Wild Continent. While Emo Qingyun was pondering, Qian Linglong continued, Senior Lan Lu's body is at the bottom of the ice lake, but her remnant spirit's power has been greatly reduced. She can't help me break the ice. If I want to get the inheritance, I have to break the ice myself and dive to the bottom of the ice lake. If that's the case, let's not waste any more time. Let's break the ice immediately. Knowing that Qian Linglong wanted to accept the inheritance, Emo Qingyun did not want to waste any more time. He immediately walked to the center of the ice lake. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Qian Linglong quickly followed him and walked to the center of the ice lake again. When they arrived at the center of the ice lake, Emo Qingyun did not rush to start. Instead, he released his soul power and sensed the bottom of the ice lake. Unfortunately, the ice in the lake was too thick. His soul power could not penetrate it. What a thick ice! It can even block my soul power. No wonder the remnant spirit could not break it. Discovering the thickness of the ice, Emo Qingyun was shocked. He raised his hand and punched the ice. A huge flaming palm with a threatening aura blasted out from Emo Qingyun's palm and landed on the ice surface domineeringly. Bang! The huge flaming palm slammed into the ice, immediately producing a loud sound, shaking the ice. Only the ice shook, but it quickly returned to its original state. There was not a single crack on the ice. What a hard ice! I'm afraid I can't break it with brute force. Seeing the situation after his palm's strike, Emo Qingyun understood in his heart. He began to think of other method. Emo Qingyun thought for a moment and came up with an idea. He thought to himself, dripping water can penetrate a rock. We can't break it open with brute force, but I can use the fire of civilization to melt it bit by bit and gradually move to the bottom of the ice lake. After this idea came to mind, Emo Qingyun felt that it was feasible. He immediately carried it out. Then, a hot wave of flames appeared in front of Emo Qingyun. Emo Qingyun released the fire of civilization. It landed on the ice and burned the ice. Under the burning of the fire of civilization, the ice melted little by little. In the blink of an eye, a large area was caved in. It works. Seeing this scene, Emo Qingyun's face lit up with joy, and he burned even harder. Then, Emo Qingyun controlled the fire of civilization and burned the ice tirelessly. A few hours later, under Emo Qingyun's burning, they finally penetrated the ice and reached the bottom of the ice lake. As soon as Emo Qingyun and Qian Linglong reached the bottom of the lake, a cold black saint power approached them. When the black saint power approached, it released a shocking devouring power. It made Qian Linglong's blood flow reverse. Devour. Seeing Qian Linglong's reaction, Emo Qingyun was shocked. He immediately devoured and refined the black saint power. After the black saint power was devoured by Emo Qingyun, Qian Linglong's expression turned better. She said with a look of fear, "The black saint power was terrifying. Under its devouring, the saint power in my body was flowing out. I couldn't suppress it at all. That's the Darkness Holy Clan's Darkness Holy Force. Hearing Qian Linglong's shocked words, Mo Qingyun explained to her. He then said, I didn't expect the darkness holy force at the bottom of the lake to be stronger than the darkness holy force in the dark spirit abyss. If that's the case, can I use it to cultivate and improve my cultivation? With this idea in mind, Mo Qingyun decided to give it a try. However, he had to wait for Qian Linglong to accept the inheritance. The darkness holy force will affect you too much. I'll send you to the Fortune mainland first. You can come out after we find the corpse. Thinking about Qian Linglong's situation, Mo Qingyun decided to send Qian Linglong to the Fortune mainland. Anyway, Qian Linglong wouldn't be of much help if she was by his side during the journey. After finding the corpse of the Darkness Holy Clan's expert, he would let Qian Linglong out to accept the inheritance. After informing Qian Linglong, Mo Qingyun sent her to the Fortune mainland. After Qian Linglong entered the Fortune mainland, Mo Qingyun dived to the bottom of the lake to look for the corpse of the Darkness Holy Clan's expert. Chapter 2398. The amount of Saint Dark power is increasing. If I continue to devour it, my body will not be able to withstand it. Seeing that the amount of Saint Dark power in front of him was increasing, Mo Qingyun stopped moving forward. The amount of Saint Dark power he had devoured along the way had reached the limit of his body. If he continued to devour it, his body would explode. Therefore, he had to refine the Saint Dark power in his body before he could continue to devour the Saint Dark power. After understanding the condition of his body, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and immediately immersed himself in cultivation. Since he could not activate the bloodline of the Dark Heaven Holy Clan, Mo Qingyun did not use the Dark Devouring Gate. He only refined the Saint Dark power in his body. Under Mo Qingyun's efforts, the Saint Dark power in his body was refined bit by bit. As Mo Qingyun continued to refine, the aura he exuded also began to grow stronger. After a few hours, Mo Qingyun stopped cultivating and a surprised look appeared on his face. He said, I did not expect that refining the Saint Dark power would allow my cultivation to improve by leaps and bounds. If I continue to devour and refine it, I will be able to make a breakthrough in my cultivation in at most 3 days. After this discovery, Mo Qingyun did not waste any more time and immediately dived to the bottom of the lake. As there was too much Saint Dark power at the bottom of the lake, Mo Qingyun's diving speed was obviously greatly restricted. A day's time passed in the blink of an eye. After a day of continuous travel, Mo Qingyun finally approached the bottom of the lake. Under Mo Qingyun's gaze, he vaguely saw an ice crystal coffin placed quietly at the center of the lake. Inside the ice crystal coffin, there was a thick black fog that exuded a terrifying devouring power. If he was not mistaken, the Saint Dark power in the entire ice lake came from the ice crystal coffin. The Saint Dark power at the bottom of the lake is too thick. Even if Linglong comes out, she will not be able to get close to the ice crystal coffin. Glancing below him, Mo Qingyun furrowed his brows. He quickly pondered in his mind and said, It seems that I have to refine the Saint Dark power before I can let Linglong come out to accept the inheritance. After thinking about this, Mo Qingyun sat down with his legs crossed and began to refine the Saint Dark power around him. Under Mo Qingyun's concentrated cultivation, the surrounding Saint power of darkness was swallowed into his body in a domineering manner. After swallowing the Saint power of darkness into his body, Mo Qingyun began to refine it and raise his cultivation base at the same time. Time always passed very quickly during cultivation. In the blink of an eye, 2 days had passed. After 2 days of continuous devouring and refining, Mo Qingyun's aura Saint Dark power. My cultivation is about to have a breakthrough. Sensing his own situation, Mo Qingyun was shocked. He was surprised by the situation and said to himself, I have not finished refining the Saint Dark power around me. It seems that I have to have a breakthrough first before I let Linglong receive the inheritance. Mo Qingyun weighed the pros and cons in his mind. He once again immersed himself in cultivation and prepared to have a breakthrough in his cultivation first. Not long after, Mo Qingyun's aura rose to a new level. His cultivation had a breakthrough. Refine. Mo Qingyun's cultivation had a breakthrough, but he did not stop cultivating immediately. Instead, he continued to devour the Saint Dark Power and refine it to stabilize his cultivation. While Mo Qingyun was stabilizing his cultivation, the remaining Saint Dark Power at the bottom of the lake was refined by him unknowingly. I've refined all the Saint Dark Power? Realizing that he had refined all the Saint Dark Power at the bottom of the lake, Mo Qingyun could not help but be stunned. This situation really surprised him. Then, a look of ecstasy appeared on Mo Qingyun's face. He said excitedly, "This trip is really worth it. If I continue to refine the Saint Dark Power like this, I will be able to break through to the Saint Realm Great Perfection in at most a month." While Mo Qingyun was feeling emotional, he also stopped cultivating and rushed to the bottom of the lake. It didn't take long for Mo Qingyun to arrive before the ice crystal coffin, and he sized it up. The ice crystal coffin was very large. It was nearly 1,000 meters long and nearly 100 meters wide. In the ice crystal coffin, a young female corpse lay quietly. Her body was surrounded by wisps of black qi. On the woman's abdomen and head, there were two obvious huge holes. It seemed that these two places were her fatal injuries. Under Mo Qingyun's observation, he also found that more than half of the female corpse's body was contaminated by the Saint Dark Power. There is so much Saint Dark Power in this female corpse's body. I'm afraid Ling Long can't accept the inheritance. Seeing the female corpse's situation, Mo Qingyun had a plan. He decided to devour the Saint Dark Power in the female corpse's body. Then, Mo Qingyun opened the ice crystal coffin and began to devour the Saint Dark Power in the ice crystal coffin. As the ice crystal coffin was opened, the Saint Dark Power in the ice crystal coffin escaped and quickly spread to the surroundings. Devour. Looking at the Saint Dark Power that was escaping, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate and immediately absorbed it into his body. After absorbing the Saint Dark Power that was escaping, Mo Qingyun did not stop and continued to absorb the Saint Dark Power in the female corpse's body. After a short while, under Mo Qingyun's frenzied absorption, the Saint Dark Power in the female corpse's body was completely absorbed. After absorbing the Saint Dark Power, Mo Qingyun raised his hand and summoned Qian Ling Long. "Ling Long, you go and accept the inheritance. I'll guard you from the side." After summoning Qian Ling Long, Mo Qingyun instructed her and walked to the side. "Okay." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Ling Long nodded in response and walked toward the ice crystal coffin. When she arrived in front of the ice crystal coffin, Qian Ling Long formed a hand seal and pointed it at her forehead. Then, the snowflake-shaped mark from before flew toward the female corpse's forehead. When the snowflake-shaped mark landed on the female corpse's forehead, it emitted a dazzling light and enveloped the female corpse's body. Then, an illusory figure flew out from the top of the female corpse's head, emitting a terrifying pressure. Sigh, her power is getting weaker and weaker. She fell into a deep sleep again, and did not even know you were here. When the shadow appeared in front of Qian Ling Long, she could not help but sigh and said helplessly. When the shadow finished speaking, a sharp light flashed in her eyes. She looked at Mo Qingyun and shouted, "What a devil's descendant! How dare you come to my immortal palace? Even if I don't have much time left, I'll still kill you." After the shadow finished speaking, she raised her right hand and was about to attack Mo Qingyun. "Say, Senior, please have mercy." Chapter 2399. He's your husband? Hearing Qian Linglong's explanation, the shadow's eyes turned cold. Anger rose on his face, and he said, "This kid is surrounded by demon qi, and the dark saint energy is surging in his body. He is clearly a demon. Don't try to defend him." After Shadow finished speaking, her expression turned cold. She didn't want to listen to Qian Linglong's explanation. Seeing Shadow's attitude, Qian Linglong immediately became anxious. She continued to persuade her, "Senior, you've misunderstood. He's really not, shut up." Before Qian Linglong could finish, Shadow scolded her. She said angrily, "The mysterious Heaven Holy Clan and the dark Heaven Holy Clan have been at odds since the beginning of time. If you insist on being with this boy, don't blame me for being merciless and killing you both." As soon as the virtual Shadow finished speaking, she released her aura and pressed it against Qian Linglong's body. Under Shadow's aura, Qian Linglong was immediately pushed back. Her face turned red. "Senior, please wait. I think you've misunderstood. I'm not a demon." Seeing Shadow's action, Mo Qingyun shouted at her. He said, "I saw Dark Saint Force at the bottom of the lake. Linglong couldn't resist the erosion of Dark Saint Force and came to the bottom of the lake to receive the inheritance. I absorbed the Dark Saint Force into my body so that Linglong could come to the bottom of the lake. If Senior thinks I'm a demon, then I have nothing to say." After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he didn't explain any more. He made a gesture that said, "Do whatever you want." "Really?" After hearing Mo Qingyun's explanation, Shadow looked suspicious. She began to examine Mo Qingyun. Shadow frowned after probing Mo Qingyun's body. He was surprised. The saint force of darkness in this kid's body does not originate from him. It was forcefully absorbed from the outside world. It looks like he's telling the truth. Although he had confirmed that Mo Qingyun's words were true, Shadow's expression did not improve. He continued, "The saint power of the Dark Heaven Holy Clan is extremely overbearing. It also has a terrifying devouring ability. How can you withstand its corrosion with your cultivation of the later stage of the Saint Realm? It should be because of his physique." Mo Qingyun gave a simple explanation in response to the Shadow's question. He didn't explain in detail. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Shadow released his soul power again and checked Mo Qingyun's body. After checking Huang Xiaolong's body, shock appeared in her eyes. The doubts in her heart were cleared. She said, "So your physical body's strength has reached the galaxy level. It's no wonder you can withstand the corrosion of the saint force of darkness." Seeing that Shadow believed his words, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and said, "Senior, since I've proven that I'm not a devil, shouldn't I accept the inheritance for Linglong? There's no need to rush this girl's inheritance. It won't be too late to carry it out later." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Shadow shook his head and refused. She said, "Since you didn't hesitate to put yourself in danger for this girl, I've decided to give you some compensation. I'll give you a mid-grade Grand Mist spiritual treasure." After Shadow finished speaking, she waved her hand at the ice crystal coffin and took out a small pagoda with 7 floors. It has the same aura as the Green Thunder spiritual pearl. This small pagoda is indeed a Grand Mist spiritual treasure. Sensing the aura emitted by the small pagoda, Mo Qingyun's face lit up. His heartbeat immediately accelerated. He could sense that the small pagoda that Shadow took out was a powerful offensive treasure. If he obtained the small pagoda, his battle power would increase by several folds. He might even be able to fight against a Galaxy Realm intermediate stage expert. While Mo Qingyun was pleasantly surprised, Shadow took the small pagoda into her hand and explained, "This 7 apertures heaven-piercing pagoda is the first Grand Mist spiritual treasure I've obtained. It can suppress the darkness saint energy in your body. I'll give it to you now." After Shadow finished speaking, she waved her hand and sent the small pagoda to Mo Qingyun. "Many thanks, Senior." Seeing that the 7 apertures heaven-piercing pagoda had flown to him, Mo Qingyun didn't stand on ceremony with Shadow. He directly took it into his hand. Pung pung pung. When Mo Qingyun caught the 7 apertures heaven-piercing pagoda, his eyes suddenly twitched. An intense feeling of unease rose in his heart. This feeling, The intense feeling of unease immediately startled Mo Qingyun. He instinctively raised his guard. In his opinion, this feeling of unease might have something to do with the small pagoda. While Mo Qingyun was still in shock, Shadow smiled faintly and said, "Although your physique is strong, it's not a small injury to endure the corrosion of the Darkness Saint energy. You should refine the 7 apertures heaven-piercing pagoda. It can help you suppress the Darkness Saint energy." When Shadow said this, a sharp light flashed in her eyes. It was as if she wanted to split Mo Qingyun in half. Refine it. When Mo Qingyun heard Shadow's words, the vigilance in his heart immediately intensified. He had a faint feeling that Shadow was definitely up to something by giving him the 7 apertures heaven-piercing pagoda. Although he wasn't sure what it was, he was certain that he couldn't refine the 7 apertures heaven-piercing pagoda. At the very least, he couldn't refine the 7 apertures heaven-piercing pagoda in front of Shadow. "Senior, thank you for your kindness. I naturally have a way to suppress the Darkness Saint energy in my body." When Mo Qingyun responded to Shadow, he also put away the 7 apertures heaven-piercing pagoda. No matter what, the 7 apertures heaven-piercing pagoda was a grand-missed spiritual treasure. It would be too wasteful if he didn't take it. The connection with the 7 apertures heaven-piercing pagoda has been cut off? When Mo Qingyun put away the 7 apertures heaven-piercing pagoda, Shadow's face was filled with shock. His gaze became even colder as he thought to himself, "This brat is somewhat strange. His mind is steady and he's as cunning as a fox. It seems that it will be a little troublesome to deal with him. If I don't get rid of him, with his relationship with the girl, it might affect her cultivation." While Shadow was pondering, Mo Qingyun smiled respectfully and said, "Senior, you don't have to worry about me. Let Linglong accept the inheritance." Mo Qingyun said those words to let Linglong accept the inheritance. Secondly, he wanted to divert Shadow's attention. Hearing Mo Qingyun's urging, although Shadow still wanted to deal with Mo Qingyun, she gave up in the end. "I don't have much power left. Let's not delay any longer. Let this girl accept the inheritance first." After deciding to let Qian Linglong accept the inheritance, Shadow began to form hand seals and hit them into various positions of the ice crystal coffin. Following that, dazzling light beams exploded from the ice crystal coffin. These light beams burst out and shrouded Qian Linglong, binding her. Soon, Qian Linglong was bound by those light beams and turned into a cocoon. Chapter 2400. Seeing that Qian Linglong had accepted the inheritance, Mo Qingyun did not think too much about it and sat down to cultivate. He had not had the time to refine the Saint Dark power that he had just swallowed. It was a good opportunity for him to refine it. As he was wary of the Shadow, Mo Qingyun did not fully immerse himself in his cultivation. He couldn't guarantee that the shadowy figure wouldn't suddenly attack him while he was cultivating. Although the shadow was very weak now, a lean camel was still bigger than a horse. Its full-strength attack was still very terrifying. What made Mo Qingyun feel a little relieved was that the shadow did not sneak up on him while he was cultivating. The rest of the time was relatively peaceful. Both of them were busy with their own things. As the inheritance continued to pass, the shadow's power became weaker and weaker. It seemed that it would collapse at any time. Mo Qingyun did not pay attention to the shadow's behavior and continued to immerse himself in his cultivation. As Mo Qingyun continued to cultivate, the aura that he exuded became stronger little by little. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. After 3 days of refining, Mo Qingyun had finally refined all the Saint Dark power in his body. After refining the Saint Dark power in his body, his cultivation had improved a lot and his realm had been completely stabilized. If I cultivate for another 10 days or half a month, I should be able to break through to the Sage Realm Great Perfection. After refining the Saint Dark power in his body, Mo Qingyun stopped cultivating. There was a look of regret on his face. Seeing that Emo Qingyun had stopped cultivating and refined the Saint Dark power in his body, the shadow was immediately shocked and said, "How is this possible? With his cultivation, how can he refine the Saint Dark power so easily? Even suppressing it would be very difficult." With such doubts in his heart, the shadow's gaze towards Emo Qingyun changed. Obviously, he had a lot of doubts about Emo Qingyun's previous explanation. With his knowledge and experience, he did not believe that an advanced Sage Realm cultivation could easily refine the Saint Dark power. There was only one possibility that Emo Qingyun could do this. He had the bloodline of the Dark Heaven Holy Clan in his body. Although the shadow thought of this possibility, he did not attack Emo Qingyun because Qian Linglong was receiving the inheritance. The shadow thought to himself, "Boy, you dare to lie to me. Wait until her inheritance is over. I will deal with you." After a few hours, with the shadow's support, Qian Linglong's inheritance was about to end. Linglong's inheritance is about to end. Seeing that Qian Linglong's inheritance was about to complete, Mo's expectation of Linglong's. At the same time, Emo Qingyun also released his soul power to sense the changes in Qian Linglong. Although Qian Linglong's cultivation did not skyrocket after receiving the inheritance, her saint energy had become purer. In addition, Qian's saints hers. From this, it could be seen that Qian Linglong's cultivation talent had improved tremendously. Almost there. Seeing that Qian Linglong's inheritance was about to end, the shadow's eyes lit up and he quickly formed a handprint. Then, the handprint fell on the ice crystal coffin, and a dazzling light bloomed. Under the light, Qian Linglong was sent into the ice crystal coffin and was sealed. Linglong. Seeing this unforeseen event, Emo Qingyun's expression immediately changed. He was caught off guard by this situation. Immediately, Emo Qingyun's face was filled with anger. He glared at the illusory figure and asked, "Senior, what are you doing? Hurry up and let Linglong out." The shadow did not respond to Emo Qingyun's order. He formed another 5 handprints. The 5 handprints fell on the ice crystal coffin and turned into 5 blue ice phoenixes. They flew out of the ice lake with the coffin. "It wants to send Linglong away." Seeing the shadow's action, Emo Qingyun thought of a possibility and became nervous. Then, Emo Qingyun flew toward the ice crystal coffin and tried to stop it. "Kid, you are a rare genius. I admire you very much." Seeing Emo Qingyun's action, the shadow sneered and rushed toward Emo Qingyun. He said, "Unfortunately, that girl has become my inheritor. You will have to suffer a little and disappear from this world. You will no longer be an obstacle to her path." Ice Phoenix Sky-Breaking Wings. After the shadow finished speaking, she gathered all the power in her body and performed a superpower. As the shadow made her move, a terrifying surge of saint power gathered in her palm. Then, the terrifying saint power turned into an ice phoenix and flapped its wings rapidly. As the ice phoenix flapped its wings, cold ice feathers flew toward Emo Qingyun. Emo Qingyun was not surprised by the shadow's sudden attack. He was already prepared for it. "Humph! I knew you wanted to kill me. You can't kill me in your current state." Facing the shadow's overbearing attack, Emo Qingyun mocked her and blocked the attack of the ice feathers. Holy Glory Super Power Ignite! Dragon Source Overlord Body. Emo Qingyun did not hold back and used all his strength to block the shadow's attack. The shadow was too strong. If he did not use all his strength, he might not even have the chance to attack. "Dark Dawn, come out and help me." When Emo Qingyun performed his superpower, he also summoned Dark Dawn to help him deal with the shadow. When Dark Dawn was summoned, he activated the bloodline of the Dark Heaven Holy Clan and exploded with a powerful bloodline power. The bloodline aura of the Dark Heaven Holy Clan. Sensing the bloodline aura of Dark Dawn, the shadow's eyes widened. She said angrily, "Boy, you dare to lie to me. You really are in cahoots with the Dark Heaven Holy Clan." "Lie to you?" Hearing the shadow's words, Emo Qingyun immediately curled his lips and said with a disdainful expression, "Didn't you lie to me too? Didn't you give me the 7 apertures heaven-piercing pagoda to kill me?" You know. Hearing Emo Qingyun's question, the shadow's expression was shocked. She was very surprised by this situation. At this moment, she finally understood why Emo Qingyun did not refine the 7 apertures heaven-piercing pagoda. After a short moment of shock, a cold smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. She said, "Since you know, so what if you are prepared? Today you will all die. You are the one who deserves to die." Emo Qingyun was unwilling to be outdone by the shadow's angry words. He retorted and launched an attack at the shadow. Death's door. Emo Qingyun waved his hand and a cold and gloomy power gathered in his palm. It turned into a dark door of light. After the death's door was formed, Emo Qingyun blasted it at the shadow and domineeringly enveloped the shadow. Chapter 2401. I wouldn't be standing before you right now if I hadn't hidden myself well. In the face of the phantom's anger, Emo Qingyun evilly smiled, his eyes filled with a chilling intent. Since both sides had already shed all pretense of cordiality, there was no need for him to hide any more. There was no need for him to put on a respectful front. You wretched demons are indeed sinister and treacherous. After being sealed by the death's door, the shadow struggled frantically, trying to break out of the death's door. Cracks started to appear on the death's door as the shadow attacked frantically. It seemed like the door was about to be broken. Indeed, a starving camel is still bigger than a horse. I didn't expect her to have such strong combat power. Emo Qingyun was shocked when he saw the shadow's frightening attacks. His expression immediately tensed up. Given the combat power displayed by the shadow, Luo Yunyang's situation would be very safe if she broke out of the death's door. While Emo Qingyun was worried, he also had a clear understanding of the death's door's power. Based on the current situation, the death's door won't be a threat to anyone whose strength exceeds the celestial domain grade. Emo Qingyun had a clearer understanding of his own strength now that he knew the limits of the death's door. Let's take advantage of the fact that she hasn't come out yet. Let's go after the crystal coffin and save Ling Long first. Emo Qingyun ignored the shadow and flew out of the ice lake with Enchun. When Emo Qingyun left, the shadow's attacks weakened and she gradually disappeared into the death's door. Over there! Emo Qingyun left the ice lake and saw 5 ice phoenixes dragging the ice crystal coffin as they flew out of the ice palace. When Emo Qingyun saw the ice crystal coffin, the others also saw it and started to surround it. Look, there are 5 ice phoenixes dragging the ice crystal coffin. There might be an exceptional secret treasure inside. Look, there is a giant corpse inside the ice crystal coffin. She might be the owner of the ice palace. There are many weapons around the giant corpse. Those weapons must be peerless divine weapons. Everyone, let's attack together and take down the ice coffin. Don't let it escape from the ice palace. When these people saw the ice crystal coffin, they immediately attacked the 5 ice phoenixes. The cultivators immediately executed powerful mystical abilities and immortal arts. As the divine abilities and celestial arts were executed, they turned into saber rays and sword shadows that shot toward the 5 ice phoenixes. Whoosh 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 in the face of their powerful attacks, the 5 ice phoenixes screeched and launched a counterattack. The 5 ice phoenixes turned around and flapped their wings at an extremely fast speed, blasting forth a series of glacial feathers. Bang bang bang, under the attack of these ice feathers, the attacks that were attacking them were dispersed in the blink of an eye. After defeating everyone's attacks, the 5 ice phoenixes continued to launch counterattack. Chi chi chi, under the attack of the 5 ice phoenixes, everyone was killed in a tyrannical manner. After killing everyone in its path, the ice phoenix didn't slow down in the slightest and flew out of the ice palace in the blink of an eye. The entire process was as fast as lightning and took only a few breaths. What a powerful ice phoenix! Seeing the scene in front of him, Mo Qingyun was shocked and raised his guard against the ice phoenix. The strength that the ice phoenix had just displayed was several times stronger than an ordinary Nebula Realm powerhouse. After discovering the ice phoenix's strength, Mo Qingyun's expression tensed up and he continued to chase after the ice phoenix. However, what shocked Mo Qingyun was that the aura emitted by the ice phoenix was actually becoming stronger and stronger. This feeling was similar to the ice phoenix's strength slowly recovering after awakening. In addition, as the ice phoenix's strength continued to increase, their flying speed also became faster and faster. As a result, the distance between Mo Qingyun and them grew larger and larger. I can't catch up. Seeing the ice phoenix getting further and further away, Mo Qingyun's expression turned grave and he became even more anxious. Just like that, Mo Qingyun chased for a while more before he helplessly stopped. He discovered that the aura emitted by the ice phoenix had already surpassed the level of the galaxy grade. This way, even if he caught up, he wouldn't be able to stop it and would only be killed by the ice phoenix. Boom, 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 or when Mo Qingyun stopped chasing, a loud sound suddenly came from the sky and a huge hole was blasted in the sky. When this huge hole appeared, it combined with the hole created by the ox-headed demon and formed a pair of eyes, which looked even more eye-catching. Mo Qingyun didn't care about this, as he wasn't in the mood to care about it. The mysterious sky sacred tribe. Mo Qingyun's face darkened and he clenched his fists tightly as he watched the ice phoenix disappear. He hadn't expected that bringing Qian Linglong out this time would cause them to be separated. He didn't know when they would meet again. If his guess was right, the 5 ice phoenixes had dragged the ice crystal coffin to the mysterious sky sacred tribe. Linglong, wait for me. I will definitely come to the heaven realm to find you. After speculating where Qian Linglong had gone, Mo Qingyun secretly made up his mind and his desire to go to the heaven realm grew stronger. Mo Qingyun suppressed the anger and unwillingness in his heart and gradually regained his rationality. Based on the actions of Lan Lu's remnant spirit, all of this should have been set up long before Lan Lu died. In that case, Linglong should not be in any danger after becoming her successor and entering the mysterious sky sacred tribe. When Mo Qingyun thought of this, his mood improved a little. His worries also lessened a little. This wasn't a bad thing for Qian Linglong. The cultivation resources of the wild continent were scarce. If Qian Linglong entered the mysterious sky sacred tribe, she would be able to obtain more and better cultivation resources. Furthermore, he had also obtained a primordial spiritual treasure from Lan Lu's remnant spirit. All in all, the two of them had gained a lot from this adventure. Since the matter of the 9 Saints Temple has been settled and Linglong has obtained the inheritance and left, I should also return. With that thought in mind, Mo Qingyun did not want to stay any longer. He prepared to return to the Palace of Creation immediately. Then, Mo Qingyun summoned Udihai and asked him to continue the flying boat's journey back. When they were rushing back to the Palace of Fortune, a group of people arrived at the prison wasteland realm with cold smiles on their faces. If Mo Qingyun was here, he would definitely recognize them. They were Zi Qingrong and the others from the Dark Demon race. Sacred Prince, this time you have personally come to the Palace of Fortune. You will definitely be able to kill Mo Qingyun. When Mo Qingyun sees you, he will probably be so scared that he will wet his pants and kneel on the ground to beg for mercy. From then on, Mo Qingyun will be like a dog and can only kneel and lick the Sacred Prince's boots. When they arrived at the prison wasteland realm, they sneered proudly as if they could see Mo Qingyun's death. Chapter 2402. Leaving Udihai in charge of the journey, Mo Qingyun entered the Fortune mainland, preparing to use this period of time to cultivate. When he arrived at the Fortune mainland, Mo Qingyun raised his hand and took out the 7 orifices heaven-piercing pagoda. The divine sense on the 7 orifices heaven-piercing pagoda seems to have disappeared. After taking out the 7 orifices heaven-piercing pagoda, Mo Qingyun released his soul force and carefully probed it. Lan Lu's remnant spirit was too strong. For safety's sake, Mo Qingyun had no choice but to be careful. Mo Qingyun was pleasantly surprised that the divine sense on the 7 orifices heaven-piercing pagoda was gone. He said, "The divine sense on the 7 orifices heaven-piercing pagoda is gone. Doesn't that mean I can refine it and turn it into one of my trump cards?" When Mo Qingyun thought of this, he felt a strong sense of anticipation. He immediately refined the 7 orifices heaven-piercing pagoda. A stream of pure saint energy shot out from Mo Qingyun's palm and wrapped around the 7 orifices heaven-piercing pagoda. Then, he began to refine the 7 orifices heaven-piercing pagoda, gradually increasing his control over it. What made Mo Qingyun somewhat helpless was that the difficulty of refining the 7 orifices heaven-piercing pagoda was much greater than he had imagined. The 7 orifices heaven-piercing pagoda is worthy of being a grand mist spiritual treasure. It's really difficult to refine it. Realizing the difficulty of refining the 7 orifices heaven-piercing pagoda, Mo Qingyun released the power of fortune, wanting to refine the 7 orifices heaven-piercing pagoda. When Mo Qingyun released the power of fortune, it wrapped around the 7 orifices heaven-piercing pagoda and began to refine it. What made Mo Qingyun feel fortunate was that the refining efficiency of the power of creation was much higher than that of ordinary saint energy. According to the refining speed of ordinary saint energy, it would take at least 3 to 5 years to refine 10% of the 7 orifices heaven-piercing pagoda. Such a long period of time was obviously impossible for Mo Qingyun at his current level. Fortunately, using the power of creation to refine it is much faster than using ordinary saint energy. Otherwise, the 7 orifices heavenly jewel pagoda would just be a decoration. Seeing the efficiency of refining the power of creation, Mo Qingyun was immediately overjoyed and became even more immersed in refining. As he refined the 7 orifices sky-piercing jewel pagoda, streams of pure primordial energy were emitted from the pagoda. As soon as the primordial energy appeared, it penetrated deep into Mo Qingyun's body, nourishing Mo Qingyun's body and soul. What pure primordial energy! If I can refine it, my strength will definitely soar. Sensing the primordial energy in his body, Mo Qingyun was overjoyed and immediately began to refine it. As Mo Qingyun refined the grand mist energy, his physical body underwent a qualitative change. At the same time, his cultivation also rose. Such a discovery made Mo Qingyun even more overjoyed, and he became even more excited. Wild Lightning Dragon Source Overlord Body had been cultivated to perfection. If there were no accidents, it would be impossible for it to progress further. However, after refining the primordial energy, the Dragon Source Overlord Body had become even stronger. This surprised Mo Qingyun. Immediately after, Mo Qingyun worked even harder to refine the primordial energy, absorbing it like a sponge absorbing water. 3 days later. Sage Realm Great Perfection. Mo Qingyun, who was in the midst of cultivation, slowly opened his eyes. His eyes flashed with surprise. In these 3 days, under the continuous refining of the primordial energy, his cultivation had made a breakthrough. The speed of his improvement was several times faster than what he had expected. What surprised Mo Qingyun even more was the improvement of his Dragon Source Overlord Body, which had been strengthened by nearly 20%. In this way, my strength has at least doubled in this cultivation. Looking at the gains this time, Mo Qingyun's heart was filled with joy. This was something that he had not expected before. Originally, he had only thought of refining the 7 orifices heaven-piercing exquisite pagoda to increase his trump card. He had not expected to refine the 7 orifices heaven-piercing exquisite pagoda to have such an unexpected gain. The only flaw in this cultivation was that he could not make any more breakthroughs after refining the 7 orifices heaven-piercing exquisite pagoda to 10%. Although he had only refined 10% of it, Mo Qingyun didn't care. Instead, he was looking forward to it even more. He said, "I've only refined 10%, and I can have such a harvest. If I can refine all of it, wouldn't my harvest be even greater?" With strong expectations, Mo Qingyun landed on the 7 orifices heaven-piercing exquisite pagoda to see what magical effects it had. Given my current level of refinement, I can open the first level of the 7 orifices heaven-piercing exquisite pagoda. Let's see its magical effects first. With this thought in mind, Mo Qingyun revealed a look of anticipation. Open the first level of the 7 orifices heaven-piercing exquisite pagoda. Mo Qingyun formed a seal with his hands and pointed at the 7 orifices heaven-piercing exquisite pagoda in front of him to open the first level of the pagoda. When the seal landed on the 7 orifices heaven-piercing exquisite pagoda, it flew into the air and emitted a dazzling light. Then, the door of the first level of the 7 orifices heaven-piercing exquisite pagoda opened in front of Mo Qingyun's anticipation. A powerful aura erupted from within. What a powerful aura! It's even stronger than in Chen's. When he sensed the aura emitted by the 7 orifices heaven-piercing exquisite pagoda, Mo Qingyun was shocked. 7 huge figures flew out of the 7 orifices heaven-piercing exquisite pagoda and stood above Mo Qingyun's head. 7 galaxy-grade spiritual puppets. Mo Qingyun's heartbeat quickened when he saw the 7 figures standing above him. This situation was too shocking. He had originally thought that the 7 orifices heaven-piercing exquisite pagoda would contain some kind of mystic ability or secret technique. He had never expected that there would be 7 spiritual puppets. Mo Qingyun observed the 7 spiritual puppets and noticed that there was an obscure light gate imprint between their eyebrows. Thump, thump, thump. When the 7 spiritual puppets flew out, Mo Qingyun's eyes twitched as he sensed something. At the same time, the gate of creation, which had been immersed in his body, appeared between his eyebrows. The aura of these 7 spiritual puppets seems to be able to activate the gate of creation. Mo Qingyun was surprised when he saw the 7 spiritual puppets before him. He was curious about the 7 spiritual puppets. Just as Mo Qingyun was feeling curious, a churn flew out from between his eyebrows. His face was full of shock as he said, "This woman is really vicious. She actually hunted down the members of the 9 great sacred clans and refined them all into spiritual puppets." The 9 great sacred clans? When he heard In Chen's shocking words, Mo Qingyun was immediately curious. He turned his head to look at In Chen and asked, "In Chen, who exactly are the 9 great sacred clans that you are talking about?" When he heard Mo Qingyun's question, In Chen did not hide anything and answered truthfully, "Master, the 9 great sacred clans belong to the 9 great ancient clans in the heaven realm. They are gold, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, thunder, darkness, and light." Chapter 2403. That's strange. The creation gate in my body doesn't seem to belong to any of them. Thinking of his own gate of good fortune, Mo Qingyun was immediately filled with doubt, a strong sense of incomprehension. He could clearly sense that the creation gate in his body had been refined by the 9 great sacred sects. This was because when the 9 heavenly sacred clans appeared, he had a strong feeling as if he was being strongly attracted. However, upon closer inspection, he realized that there were some fundamental differences between the creation gate and the 9 great sacred sects. After racking his brains to no avail, Mo Qingyun shook his head and stopped thinking about these things. Forget it. Given my current level, I probably won't be able to understand these things. I can only wait until I reach the celestial realm before I think about it. As Emo Chinyan thought about this, he turned to look at the spirit puppets and muttered to himself, "If my guess is right, these 7 spirit puppets should belong to the metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, and lightning races." Emo Chinyan possessed the bloodline of the Dark Sky Sacred Sect, so he was certain that the 7 spirit puppets didn't belong to the Dark Sky Sacred Sect. As for the Light Sky Sacred Sect, although he hadn't seen it before, he could deduce it. Light and darkness were opposites. If he possessed the bloodline of the Dark Sky Sacred Sect, he would definitely be able to sense it. Forget it. Let's not bother about these unnecessary things. Let's see how strong the spirit puppets are first. As Emo Chinyan thought about it, he immediately felt a sense of anticipation and used his spiritual consciousness to control the spirit puppets to practice. Under Emo Chinyan's control, the 7 spirit puppets started to practice and displayed astonishing combat power. What surprised Emo Chinyan was that the 7 spirit puppets actually formed a joint battle formation during their practice. The battle formation formed by the 7 spirit puppets has a huge boost to their combat power. Their combined combat power should be comparable to a celestial domain grade. Although Emo Chinyan wasn't clear about the strength of a celestial domain grade, he was certain that their combined combat power definitely wasn't at the galaxy grade. However, this wasn't important to Emo Chinyan anymore. He was already very satisfied with having 7 celestial domain grade spirit puppets. This had already exceeded his expectations. His only regret on this trip to the Ice Palace was that Qian Linglong had left. Thinking that Qian Linglong had left, Emo Chinyan's heart sank. He clenched his fists and said, "Linglong, wait for me. I will definitely come and find you." Just as Emo Chinyan made up his mind, Udihai's soul voice rang in his mind. "Master, we've arrived at the Immortal Palace." "We've arrived?" Hearing Udihai's voice transmission, Emo Chinyan's face revealed a trace of astonishment. He quickly left the Fortune mainland. "Let's go in." Coming out from the Fortune mainland, Emo Chinyan stood beside Udihai and nodded at him. Then, Emo Chinyan walked into the Palace of Creation without stopping. Outside Chunyo City. After a few days of traveling, Zi Qingrong finally arrived at the outskirts of Chunyo City. "Sacred Prince, this is Chunyo City. The Immortal Palace of Fortune is built here." Standing at the entrance of Chunyo City, Zi Qi's face was filled with excitement as he explained to Zi Qingrong. Zi Qingrong took a quick look at Chunyo City before taking the lead and saying, "Let's not waste any more time. Let's head straight to the Immortal Palace of Fortune." Hearing Zi Qingrong's words, everyone followed behind him and rushed towards the Immortal Palace of Fortune. The Immortal Palace of Fortune was very conspicuous in Chunyo City. Zi Qingrong and the others quickly found it. When they arrived outside the Immortal Palace of Fortune, Zi Qingrong and the others soared into the air and looked down at the Immortal Palace of Fortune. "Emo Chinyan, our sacred prince, is here. Come out and accept your death. If you accept your death obediently, we can spare some innocent disciples. If you don't come out, don't blame us for killing our way in. At that time, not only will you die, everyone in the Immortal Palace of Fortune will die." Standing in the air above the Immortal Palace of Fortune, Zi Qingrong and the others sneered and raised their heads proudly. While Zi Qi and the others were feeling smug, there were a few people whose expressions were uncertain as they sent voice transmissions to Emo Chinyan. "Zi Qingrong and the others are here?" When Emo Chinyan heard the soul transmissions in his mind and heard the shouts of Zi Pesel and the others, he was shocked. He did not expect Zi Qingrong and the others to come just as he returned to the Immortal Palace of Fortune. He had to admit that he had come back just in time. "Since Zi Qingrong and the others are here, let's meet them first before we talk about Linglong's departure." With this thought, Emo Chinyan stopped and flew towards Zi Qingrong and the others. In his opinion, with his current strength, there was no need for him to hide anymore. If he wanted to, He could kill Ziqingrong and the others in an instant. After a while, Emo Qingyun arrived in front of Ziqingrong and the others and looked at them indifferently. When Ziqingrong and the others saw Emo Qingyun, the smiles on their faces became even brighter. Emo Qingyun, you're quite bold. You actually dare to face us alone. Ziqingrong sneered as he looked at Emo Qingyun, who was not far away. It was as though he was confident that he could defeat Emo Qingyun. In the previous few times, they had been at a disadvantage when they fought with Emo Qingyun. Therefore, how could he not be happy that he had finally gained an advantage over the others? Of course, this advantage was only in Ziqingrong and the others' minds. You are just a group of losers. Why would I be afraid to meet you? After looking at Ziqingrong and the others, Emo Qingyun sneered and curled his lips mockingly. Ziqingrong did not know that half of the people from the Dark Demon clan were his servants. Most importantly, given the strength of Ziqingrong and the others, it would be easy for the 7 spiritual puppets from the Sky Sacred Sect to deal with them. After glancing at Ziqingrong and the others, Emo Qingyun looked at Xiongling and smiled faintly. If my guess is correct, you must be the Blood Ancestor. It seems that the reason they came here this time was because of your companions. When he heard Emo Qingyun's question, Xiongling raised his head and said proudly, Lad, since you know who I am, you should know what to do. Of course. Emo Qingyun nodded with a faint smile. He rubbed his chin and said with an evil grin, It's rare that the upper echelons of the Dark Demon race are all here today. In that case, I will capture all of you in one fell swoop and save myself the trouble in the future. Kill all of us in one fell swoop? Ziqingrong was shocked. He was confused by Emo Qingyun's attitude. He really couldn't figure out where Emo Qingyun's confidence came from that allowed him to say such arrogant words. Sacred Prince, allow me to deal with him. Looking at Emo Qingyun's arrogant attitude, Xionglin's face was filled with anger, and he took the initiative to step forward. Ziqingrong nodded and agreed to Xionglin's request. He said, Emo Qingyun has many secrets. Don't be in a hurry to kill him. I still have some uses for him. Yes. Chapter 2404. The Blood Ancestor's attitude towards Ziqingrong seems to be very respectful. Emo Qingyun narrowed his eyes in surprise when he saw Xionglin's behavior. Logically speaking, Xiongling was a powerhouse of the Dark Demon race from the Outer Realm, so his status should be more honorable than Ziqingrong's. However, he had actually bowed down to Ziqingrong, which was a little too unusual. It seems like Ziqingrong is not simple. I underestimated him. As Emo Qingyun thought about this, the way he looked at Ziqingrong changed drastically. After re-examining Ziqingrong, Emo Qingyun retracted his gaze and turned to look at Xiongling. Given your mid-stage galaxy-grade cultivation, you are a good sparring partner. You can also help me adapt to my increased strength. Emo Qingyun's figure flashed as he took the initiative to rush towards Xiongling. He did not want to waste time talking nonsense with him. Everyone's eyes widened in shock when they saw Emo Qingyun's behavior. Given Emo Qingyun's sage-perfected realm cultivation, he actually dared to take the initiative to attack Xiongling, who was at the mid-stage galaxy grade. This was a little too unusual. As everyone watched in shock, Emo Qingyun arrived in front of Xiongling and blasted out a palm strike. This time, Emo Qingyun did not use any mystic technique. He only used his physical strength to fight. Everyone was stunned when they saw Emo Qingyun's actions. Their eyes were filled with confusion and doubt. What is this kid trying to do? Does he have a death wish? He is fighting the Blood Ancestor without using any mystic technique. Isn't he too confident? I feel that something is wrong. Given this kid's temperament, he definitely won't foolishly throw his life away. Let's wait and see. He won't be able to play any tricks under the current circumstances. Ziqing and the others were stunned at first. Then, disdain appeared on their faces as they looked at Emo Qingyun with disdain. Presumably, in their eyes, Emo Qingyun was already a fish on the chopping board, waiting to be slaughtered. While Ziqi and the others were feeling complacent, Ziqingrong frowned and said with a shocked expression, "He has broken through to the perfect saint stage. What a terrifying speed! Could it be that he has encountered some great fortuitous encounter?" When Ziqingrong thought about this, he became jealous. Why didn't he have any fortuitous encounters? While Ziqingrong was shocked and jealous, his fear of Emo Qingyun became even stronger. He realized that every time he received news about Emo Qingyun would improve tremendously. This was simply too terrifying. "Brat, you actually didn't even use your divine ability? I think you're courting death." Looking at the rapidly approaching Emo Qingyun, the blood ancestor sneered, his eyes filled with contempt. Although he was mocking Emo Qingyun, the blood ancestor didn't let his guard down and fought with all his might against Emo Qingyun. Blood dragon shakes the mountains and rivers. The blood ancestor clenched his fists and quickly waved them in front of him, blasting out waves of terrifying blood-colored saint energy. The blood-colored saint energy gathered and turned into blood dragons, charging toward Emo Qingyun in a domineering manner. As the blood dragons flew, the sky and earth changed color, turning into a blood-colored world. Ziqi and the others tensed up when they saw this. Their eyes were filled with awe and respect. Although the blood ancestor had been forced to submit to Ziqingrong, his strength was still not to be underestimated. Break! Facing the continuous attacks of the blood dragons, Emo Qingyun wasn't afraid at all. He went forward to meet the attacks. Looking at the approaching blood dragons, Emo Qingyun quickly waved his fists and blasted them toward the blood dragons. In a short period of time, Emo Qingyun blasted out a few punches, landing on the blood dragons. Bang bang bang, under Emo Qingyun's domineering punches, the blood dragons that were attacking him were instantly destroyed. After destroying the blood dragons, Emo Qingyun didn't stop and continued to approach Xiongling. Ziqi and the others trembled in fear when they saw Xionglin's superpower being easily destroyed by Emo Qingyun. This can't be real, right? He actually destroyed the blood ancestor's superpower with just his physical strength. He's even stronger. Back when he was outside the dark spirit abyss, he was at most a nebula realm. What kind of freak is this kid? How did his strength increase so quickly? Seeing Emo Qingyun's strength, Ziqi and the others were shocked and their faces turned pale. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have believed it. Compared to Ziqi and the others, Ziqingrong wasn't as shocked. However, he still had a grave expression on his face. He was able to block Xionglin's superpower with just his physical strength. This is bad. I might not be able to suppress him. When Ziqingrong thought of this, he clenched his fists tightly, making cracking sounds. He had originally thought that he would be able to crush Emo Qingyun after breaking through to the nebula realm. However, he had never expected that Emo Qingyun's strength would increase so much during this period of time. Emo Qingyun had even grown faster than him. This outcome was so unexpected that it was hard for him to accept it. Ziqingrong was well aware of his status. Given his status and background, it wasn't strange for him to cultivate so quickly. However, Emo Qingyun was different. Emo Qingyun's cultivation speed was actually faster than his. This was too abnormal. Could this kid's background be even stronger than mine? As this thought surfaced in his mind, Ziqingrong's face twitched and the shock in his eyes intensified. If this was really the case, it would undoubtedly be very bad for him. Under the gaze of Ziqingrong and the others, Emo Qingyun arrived in front of Xiongling and threw a punch at him. "I took one of your superpowers. Why don't you take one of my punches as well?" As soon as Emo Qingyun finished speaking, he threw a punch without using any of his superpowers. If one observed carefully, they would notice that Emo Qingyun had only used a small amount of saint energy in his punch. "Kid, don't be so arrogant and look down on me." Xiong Ling's face turned pale when he saw Emo Qingyun's performance. He felt that Mo Qingyun was humiliating him. No matter what, he was still a mid-stage galaxy-grade elite. However, Mo Qingyun hadn't used his full strength in this fight. That didn't make sense. As soon as Xiong Ling finished speaking, he hurriedly threw a punch at Mo Qingyun. As soon as Xiong Ling threw his punch, a terrifying blood qi burst out from his body. Enveloped by this blood qi, his figure became taller, giving off an even more dignified feeling. Blood Tiger Crushing Thunder Fist. As soon as Xiong Ling threw his punch, a fist filled with blood qi and flashing lightning arcs met Mo Qingyun's punch. Boom! When the two fists collided, there was a loud explosion and a dazzling blood-red radiance. At the same time, a terrifying wave of blood-red saint power exploded in all directions. Chapter 2405. What kind of freak is this kid? He's only in the Great Perfection Saint realm, but he's able to fight me to a standstill. Xiong Bing was shocked after fighting Mo Qingyun for one round. He looked at Mo Qingyun in shock. What he couldn't accept the most was that Mo Qingyun didn't even use his saint energy or divine ability when he fought with him. In that case, once Mo Qingyun activated his saint energy and unleashed a powerful divine ability, wouldn't he be able to crush him? Great. Let's continue. While Xiong Bing was still in shock, Mo Qingyun appeared in front of him again like a ray of light. Mo Qingyun did not say a word as he rushed in front of Xiong Bing and threw a punch at him. This time, Mo Qingyun activated the saint power in his body when he threw the punch. A ball of threatening flame condensed on his fist like a ferocious tiger baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. Roar! Roar! Flaming fists that looked like ferocious tigers shot out from Mo Qingyun's fists, emitting thunderous roars. Xiong Bing's pupils shrank as he faced the flaming fist. His expression turned grave. He could feel that Mo Qingyun's current strength was a great threat to him. If he was the slightest bit careless, he would very likely be killed by Mo Qingyun. Blood God's overbearing skill. After witnessing Mo Qingyun's strength, Xiong Bing did not dare to hold back. He immediately used his powerful superpower. Under Xiong Bing's attack, a terrifying blood-red saint power burst out from his body. When the saint power burst out, it turned into a huge human figure that shrouded his body. Other than that, there was a terrifying gang qi circulating around the blood-red figure. Upon closer inspection, some of the flame energy that got close to Xiong Bing would be dispersed by the gang qi. Defensive divine ability. Seeing Xiong Bing's reaction, Mo Qingyun did not panic. Instead, his eyes lit up as he said, "If that's the case, I won't have to worry about killing you." From his point of view, if Xiong Bing's defense was strengthened, his offense would be strengthened as well. Otherwise, if his attacks were too ferocious, Xiong Bing would be killed in no time, and he would not have a sparring partner. "Brat, don't look down on me. If you have the ability, then fight me with all your might." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Xiong Bing was immediately enraged and roared at Mo Qingyun. In his opinion, Mo Qingyun's words were a form of humiliation to him. "As you wish." Hearing Xiong Bing's request, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and his attacks became even more ferocious. Then, one by one, flaming fist shadows with imposing auras flew out like dragons and tigers. Facing Mo Qingyun's tyrannical attacks, Xiong Bing's expression was solemn as he defended against them. Bang! 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 As Mo Qingyun and Xiong Bing fought, shocking shockwaves swept out along with earth-shattering sounds. Upon closer inspection, one could see that Xiong Bing was slowly retreating under Mo Qingyun's attack. In other words, Xiong Bing's situation was getting worse as he faced Mo Qingyun's attacks. "Looks like I've underestimated him. I didn't expect him to grow to this extent." Looking at the situation between Mo Qingyun and Xiong Bing, Zi Qingrong's face turned cold and he became even more worried. He said, "We can't go on like this. Once Mo Qingyun uses his divine ability, Xiong Bing will not be able to defeat him. If Xiongbing is seriously injured, our situation will be bad. Thinking of this, Zi Qingrong immediately made a decision. He did not want to continue watching. Attack! As soon as Zi Qingrong gave the order, his figure flickered and flew toward Mo Qingyun. Just as Zi Qingrong moved, Mo Qingyun sensed it. He sneered and said, "Zi Qingrong, looks like I've overestimated you. I didn't expect you to be so weak. You only know how to use small tricks to bully me. The strong only look at the result. The process is not important." Zi Qingrong did not care about Mo Qingyun's provocation, and he replied calmly. Hearing Zi Qingrong's reply, Mo Qingyun's smile widened. He said, "Unfortunately, I'm afraid it's impossible for you to defeat me with your numbers." Zi Qingrong and Xiongbing were confused. They did not understand what Mo Qingyun meant. Under their confused gazes, Mo Qingyun glanced at Zi Yang and the rest and said, "You don't have to watch anymore. Kill Zi Qing and the rest." "Yes, master." Hearing Mo Qingyun's order, Zi Yang and the rest responded and started to attack Zi Qing and the rest. Zi Qi and the others were stunned by this sudden turn of events. Their minds went blank for a moment. This change was too sudden and they were not prepared for it. They could not react in time. They truly could not have imagined that Mo Qingyun had subdued Zi Yang and the others without a sound. Bang bang bang, while Zi Qing and the rest were stunned, they were attacked by Zi Yang and the rest, and they were severely injured. Seeing this, Zi Qingrong's face darkened. He was so angry that his face twitched. He roared, "Mo Qingyun, you despicable person! How dare you use such a trick?" "Zi Qingrong, you're wrong." Mo Qingyun rebutted Zi Qingrong. He then sneered and said, "Didn't you say that the strong only look at the results? The process is not important?" After Mo Qingyun's rebuttal, Zi Qingrong was speechless. He felt that he had shot himself in the foot. Suppressing the anger in his heart, Zi Qingrong's face darkened. He came in front of Mo Qingyun and shouted, "Humph! Even if you used some tricks, you will not be able to change the outcome. With Xiong Ling and I joining forces, you will definitely die today." "Don't be so sure. You brought a helper, but so did I." Mo Qingyun replied with a faint smile when he saw Zi Qingrong approaching. Then, he tapped his forehead. Mo Qingyun's forehead flashed and a figure flew out, exuding a powerful aura. Advanced galaxy grade. Mo Qingyun actually has such a strong person by his side. When he sensed An Chen's aura, Zi Qingrong was so frightened that his body trembled and his face turned pale. This change had caught him off guard, and he did not know how to deal with it. An Chen's sudden appearance had caused his remaining advantage to disappear without a trace. "An Chen, you deal with the blood ancestor. Leave Zi Qingrong to me." After summoning An Chen, Mo Qingyun ordered him and turned to face Zi Qingrong. Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's order, An Chen nodded and quickly approached Xiong Ling. Chapter 2406. From Mo Qingyun's point of view, the battle between him and Zi Qingrong was no longer a matter between the two of them. The outcome of today's battle would represent the end of his feud with the Dark Demon tribe. Fire of Civilization, Heavenly Demon's Star-Splitting Palm. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he moved his body and charged toward Zi Qingrong. As he charged toward Zi Qingrong, Mo Qingyun flipped his right palm, and flames immediately appeared on his palm. As Mo Qingyun waved his palm, a huge flaming palm shadow crushed toward Zi Qingrong. As the huge flaming palm shadow blasted out, it emitted a terrifying heat wave that turned the light into a crimson red. What a domineering fire of civilization! Looking at the rapidly approaching flaming palm, Zi Qingrong's expression changed drastically. His expression immediately turned grave. He could feel that the flaming palm that was coming toward him was enough to severely injure or even kill him. Dark sky canopy. In the face of Mo Qingyun's palm, Zi Qingrong did not dare to be careless. He immediately performed his superpower to block it. Qingrong clenched his fists tightly. Saint power surged wildly on his fists and quickly spread out in all directions. In an instant, the area within a radius of 10 miles was shrouded by a gust of black saint power. Dark Sky Canopy Wolf. After releasing his saint power to cover the area, Qingrong quickly performed a handprint and struck it into the black saint power around him. Under the effect of the handprint, fierce wolf shadows began to condense in the black saint power. The black wolf's shadow condensed and rushed toward the giant flaming palm, showing a fearless attitude. Bang! 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 A fearless wolf shadow collided with the flaming palm shadow, producing a series of loud noises. After being attacked by the wolf shadows, the power of the flaming palm shadow immediately weakened. Break! Seeing that the flaming palm shadow's attack had weakened, Qingrong blasted out his palm and hit the flaming palm shadow overbearingly. Under Qingrong's palm, the flaming palm shadow completely collapsed and turned into a ball of flame energy. After neutralizing Mo Qingyun's attack, Qingrong did not counterattack. Instead, he hid in the black saint power. It's gone. Mo Qingyun's expression changed when he realized that Qingrong had disappeared. He was a little surprised. Qingrong's technique was similar to the hidden door, but it was not as mysterious as the hidden door. Once the black saint energy was gone, Qingrong would have nowhere to hide and would reveal himself again. This kind of concealment technique is really too low-level. After a brief moment of surprise, Mo Qingyun curled his lips as a playful smile surfaced on his face. After mocking Qingrong, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate and immediately attacked Qingrong. Holy Glory Theurgy, Ignite. Dragon Source Tyrant Body. With a thought, Mo Qingyun unleashed these two powerful techniques without holding back. As Mo Qingyun used the two superpowers, a powerful and domineering thunderbolt force erupted from his body. When the lightning energy burst out, it violently attacked the surrounding black saint energy. Under the impact of the thunderbolt force, the black saint energy quickly dissipated like the morning fog. Due to the dissipation of the black saint energy, Qingrong, who was hiding, slowly appeared. Bang! 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 When Qingrong appeared, balls of domineering flames ignited on his body. After being burned by the flames, Qingrong no longer hid and quickly extinguished the flames on his body. After forcing Qingrong out, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and said, "Qingrong, it's impossible for you to hide in front of me with these techniques." After Mo Qingyun finished his words, his body flashed as he threw out another punch at Qingrong. As Mo Qingyun threw out his punch, an even more powerful flame energy condensed on his fist. Immediately after, a flaming fist shadow the size of a small mountain blasted out from his fist. Chi! Chi! Under the impact of the flaming fist shadow, the black saint energy in front of him was instantly burned and disappeared. After burning the black saint energy that was blocking the way, the flaming fist shadow came to the top of Qingrong's head and crushed down on him. Dark Sky Tiger. In the face of the flaming fist shadow, Qingrong's face tensed up as he quickly formed another handprint. As the handprint was formed, a violent aura burst out and disappeared into the surrounding black saint energy. Roar! Roar! Immediately after, a huge black tiger shadow jumped out from the black saint energy. The black tiger shadow jumped out and pounced on the flaming fist shadow. It was like the king of all beasts. Bang! 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 The huge tiger claw of the black tiger shadow hit the flaming fist shadow hard and made a loud noise. After being hit by the tiger shadow's overbearing attack, the power of the flaming fist shadow's attack weakened. After blocking the attack of the flaming fist shadow, Qingrong's eyes turned cold. He sneered and said, "Mo Qingyun, your strength has really surprised me. However, it's time for our fight to end." Dark Canopy Dragon. As Qingrong was speaking, a powerful handprint flew out from his hand. As the handprint hit the black saint energy, huge black dragon shadows flew out from the black saint energy. Immediately after, the huge black dragon shadows pounced on Mo Qingyun with a destructive force. Seeing Zi Qingrong's move, Mo Qingyun was shocked. He had a higher opinion of Zi Qingrong and said, Zi Qingrong is really not simple. The level of the superpower that he used might have reached the star sector level. Fortunately, he is only at the nebula realm. Otherwise, it would be difficult to deal with him. Although Mo Qingyun was shocked, he didn't panic in the slightest. He immediately counterattacked. Immediately after, a terrifying flame energy burst out from his body. After activating the sun flame energy in his body, Mo Qingyun rushed toward the black dragon shadows and waved his fist at them. Bang! 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 Every time Mo Qingyun swung his fist, it would hit a dragon shadow domineeringly, instantly destroying the dragon shadow. When Mo Qingyun destroyed the dragon shadows, some of the dragon shadows also hit him and exploded with a terrifying force. Fortunately, his physical body was so strong that these dragon shadows could not hurt him at all. Not long after, under Mo Qingyun's frenzied bombardment, all the black dragon images were dispersed. The star sector level dark sky divine power could not hurt him. His physical body is so strong. Seeing this scene, Zi Qingrong, who was not far away, was shocked. His face was filled with shock. He had not expected Mo Qingyun's physical body to be so strong that his resistance had reached such a level. Chapter 2407. Mo Qingyun, you are indeed extraordinary. It seems that I have underestimated you. After a short moment of surprise, Zi Qingrong regained his composure. His eyes gradually turned cold as he said, In that case, I will not hold back any more. I will show you the gap between us. 9 Spirits Godly Attraction Seal. After Zi Qingrong finished speaking, he closed his eyes and formed handprints. In a short while, 9 strange seals appeared beside Zi Qingrong. Not long after, the 9 hand seals combined to form a strange image. As the image was formed, it emitted a terrifying aura. It gave off a mysterious feeling. Attract. Zi Qingrong pointed his index finger, and a drop of blood essence was forced out by him. He dripped it into the strange image. The strange image flew into the air and released a dazzling black beam of light, shooting directly into the galaxy. When the black pillar of light bloomed, an aura that could destroy the heavens and the earth also erupted. Under the illumination of the black light beam, the entire sky changed color. It felt as though the sky was about to collapse. What a terrifying aura! I cannot let Zi Qingrong complete it. Otherwise, I will be in trouble. Seeing Zi Qingrong's performance, Mo Qingyun was shocked. He felt a strong sense of uneasiness. After that, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and immediately moved to stop Zi Qingrong. In young pupils. With a thought, Mo Qingyun blasted out 2 rays of eye strength. The 2 rays of eye strength blasted out and hit the strange image. The image shook violently. Boom! Boom! What shocked Mo Qingyun the most was that when the picture shook violently, the wild continent also started to shake. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun's face changed. He was shocked and thought to himself, what kind of superpower is this? It is so powerful that it can merge with the wild continent. Mo Qingyun, it is too late to stop my superpower now. Seeing Mo Qingyun stop him, Zi Qingrong sneered complacently. His eyes were full of mockery. Just as Zi Qingrong finished his words, a huge black figure stepped on a black light pillar and approached slowly. Bang bang bang. Every time that huge black figure took a step forward, the entire wild continent would tremble. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun was even more shocked. He opened his eyes wide and said, what a terrifying divine ability! Where did this Zi Qingrong come from? How could he use such a divine ability? Under Mo Qingyun's shocked gaze, the huge black figure in the void passed through the hole in midair. Seeing the black figure pass through the hole in the sky, Zi Qingrong became even more proud. He sneered and said, Mo Qingyun, it seems like even the heavens are not helping you. I did not expect that the enchantment of the original flame would be broken, and my dark demonic puppet would pass through it. As Zi Qingrong spoke, the dark demon puppet emitted a terrifying aura and stood above Mo Qingyun. Is it a pinnacle galaxy grade or a celestial domain grade? Mo Qingyun's expression stiffened when he sensed the dark demon puppet's aura. He was trying to guess its cultivation base. Under Mo Qingyun's nervous gaze, the strange image in midair entered the dark demon puppet's body. Then, the aura emitted by the dark demon puppet became much more condensed. This is the 9-spirit guiding divine seal. Sensing the dark demonic puppet's aura, Xiong Bing's attention was drawn. His face was filled with shock as he exclaimed, "This is a divine ability created by Emperor Zi Tianxiu. Since Zi Qingrong can use the 9 spirits guiding divine seal, could he be the reincarnation of Emperor Zi Tianxiu?" As Xiong Bing thought of this, he trembled in fear and his face turned as pale as a sheet of paper. While Xiong Bing was still in shock, the way he looked at Zi Qingrong changed drastically. Compared to Zi Qingrong's previous life, the difference between his identity and Zi Qingrong's was like heaven and earth. This is not good. This is a perfected galaxy-grade spiritual puppet. Master is in danger. And Chen was shocked when he sensed the dark demon puppet's strength. Worry flashed in his eyes. He knew very well that given Mo Qingyun's current strength, he was definitely no match for the dark demon puppet. Master, run. That is a perfected galaxy-grade spiritual puppet. It is not something you can handle. And Chen, who was aware of Mo Qingyun's situation, didn't dare be careless. Thus, he immediately warned Mo Qingyun. When Chen reminded him nervously, Zi Qingrong sneered proudly and said, "Mo Qingyun, I admit that your talent is amazing. Your growth speed is amazing. You have exceeded my expectations time and time again. It should end now." Mo Qingyun remained calm when he heard Zi Qingrong's smug words. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly as he said, "A celestial domain-grade spiritual puppet might be able to threaten me. However, a perfected galaxy-grade spiritual puppet is not enough." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he waved his hand and summoned the 7 spiritual puppets from the Heavenly Saint sect. As the 7 spiritual puppets of the Sky Sacred Sect appeared, they erupted with powerful auras and shocking bloodline power. PFFF, PFFF, PFFF. The surrounding people's faces changed when they felt the bloodline pressure of the Sky Sacred Sect's spiritual puppet. 7 galaxy-grade spiritual puppet. Mo Qingyun actually has such a trump card. What kind of monster is this kid? Why does he have one trump card after another? With the help of these 7 spiritual puppets, it will be difficult for the Sacred Prince to kill Mo Qingyun. Xiong Bing and the others tensed up when they saw the 7 spiritual puppets of the Sky Sacred Sect. Their smugness disappeared immediately. While Xiong Bing and the others were shocked, Zi Qingrong's expression turned solemn. His face became as dark as ink and he said angrily, "This lad has encountered another fortuitous encounter recently. I'm really envious of his luck." Forcefully suppressing the envy in his heart, Zi Qingrong's expression darkened. He looked at Mo Qingyun and coldly said, "Mo Qingyun, your luck is truly heaven-defying. You actually obtained such a powerful soul puppet. However, even so, your fate cannot be changed today. I'll say the same thing to you." Mo Qingyun's expression was cold and gloomy when he heard Zi Qingrong's angry words. He refused to be outdone. Mo Qingyun did not waste any more words with Zi Qingrong. Instead, he ordered the spiritual puppets to attack. Upon receiving Mo Qingyun's order, the spiritual puppets immediately charged toward the dark demon puppet and attacked it frantically. The dark demon puppet immediately fell into a passive state under the attacks of the 7 spiritual puppets. It was suppressed to the point that it could not retaliate. How is this possible? Seeing this scene, Zi Qingrong widened his eyes. He could not believe that this was real. Chapter 2408. Who the hell are you? After being attacked by Emo Qinyan time and time again, Zi Qingrong's mind was in a mess. At this moment, his attitude towards Emo Qinyan was clearly a little fearful. Who am I? Shouldn't you be very clear about this? Hearing Zi Qingrong's question, Emo Qinyan found it a little funny and asked with a look of disdain. He had been fighting with the Dark Demon clan for a long time. Was there a need to explain his identity? After hearing Emo Qinyan's question, Zi Qingrong immediately understood that Emo Qinyan did not understand what he meant. Before Zi Qingrong could ask again, Emo Qinyan's face darkened. He shouted angrily, "It's meaningless to talk nonsense at this point. Let's fight and settle our grievances." After Emo Qinyan finished speaking, he turned into a streamer and rushed toward Zi Qingrong. Emo Qinyan's figure flashed a few times and arrived in front of Zi Qingrong. He raised his hand and threw a punch at Zi Qingrong. The moment Emo Qinyan threw his punch, a terrifying flame power gathered on his fist. Then, Emo Qinyan attacked Zi Qingrong crazily, like a fiery god of war. Faced with Emo Qinyan's violent attacks, Zi Qingrong did not dare to be careless. He immediately raised his hand to defend against Emo Qinyan's attack. Bang! 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 In a short while, Emo Qinyan and Zi Qingrong had exchanged dozens of blows. The battle was earth-shattering. During the fierce fight with Emo Qinyan, Zi Qingrong was shocked. He looked at Emo Qinyan and said in surprise, His physical strength is comparable to a galaxy-level weapon. How is this possible? This discovery really frightened Zi Qingrong, and it was very difficult for him to accept. Emo Qinyan's cultivation was at the Sage Realm great perfection, but his physical strength was comparable to a galaxy-level weapon. This could not be described as abnormal. What scared Zi Qingrong even more was that his arms had been seriously injured in the short fight just now. If they fought a few more rounds, his arms might be crippled. This brat's physical body is too strong. I can't fight him head-on. Realizing that Emo Qinyan's body was terrifying, Zi Qingrong didn't dare to continue the fight. He immediately wanted to retreat from the battle. Sensing Zi Qingrong's intention, Emo Qinyan smiled mockingly and said, "Zi Qingrong, are you afraid? Weren't you showing off just now?" Facing Emo Qinyan's question, Zi Qingrong's face twitched, and his expression was full of anger. The anger in his heart weakened Zi Qingrong's desire to retreat. He shouted, "Emo Qinyan, don't get carried away. If you push me too far, we will fight to the death." Emo Qinyan did not refute Zi Qingrong's words, and his attacks weakened. He realized that Xiong could not hold on any longer, and the Dark Demon puppet was also in danger. He would delay Zi Qingrong for a while. When Xiong and the Dark Demon puppet were killed, they could deal with Zi Qingrong together. At that time, no matter what Zi Qingrong did, it would not be easy for him to escape. Bang! While Emo Qinyan was pondering, Xiong was sent flying by Enchen's punch, and he lost the ability to continue the fight. After Enchen crippled Xiong with a punch, he sneered and flew toward Emo Qinyan. He said, "Master, let me help you deal with this person. Xiong is defeated. I am in a bad situation." Seeing that Xiong was seriously injured, Zi Qingrong's face darkened, and he started thinking quickly. He knew that Xiong defeat meant that the balance was broken, and the situation was even worse for him. From this moment on, the scales of victory were tilted in Emo Qinyan's favor. At the same time, he realized Emo Qinyan's intention, and he was afraid. He said, "Emo Qinyan, you are trying to buy time so that you can gather their forces to deal with me." After understanding Emo Qinyan's intention, Zi Qingrong was frightened. He had been tricked by Emo Qinyan again. "Since you found out, there is nothing to hide." "That is what I was thinking." Emo Qinyan did not deny Zi Qingrong's frightened words, and he nodded at him with a faint smile. While Emo Qingyun and Zi Qingrong were talking, An Chen came to Emo Qingyun's side and attacked Zi Qingrong. Facing the joint attack of Emo Qingyun and Emo Qingyun, Zi Qingrong was immediately in a perilous situation, falling into a perilous situation. No, if this goes on, I will definitely die. Realizing that he was in a bad situation, Zi Qingrong's face darkened, and he was thinking about how to resolve the situation. Zi Qingrong thought for a while, and he looked at Xiong Bing with a ferocious expression. Immediately, Zi Qingrong's figure flashed, and he left the battle circle, and he flew toward Xiong Bing quickly. Zi Qingrong's body flashed a few times, and he arrived in front of Xiong Bing. He raised his hand to grab Xiong Bing's head and said, "Xiong Bing, as a member of my tribe, it is time for you to contribute." Tiger roaring god devouring print. As Zi Qingrong spoke, an imposing handprint quickly formed on his palm. After the print was formed, he struck it into Xiong Bing's head, and it exploded with a terrifying devouring power. "Emperor! Your Majesty, please spare my life." Seeing Zi Qingrong's action, Xiong Bing was frightened, and he knew what Zi Qingrong wanted to do. Unfortunately, Zi Qingrong chose to ignore his pleas. A huge tiger shadow appeared outside of Zi Qingrong's body, and it exploded with a terrifying devouring power. Under the domineering devouring power, the saint energy and blood essence in Xiong Bing's body were instantly sucked away. After stripping Xiong Bing of his saint energy and blood essence, Zi Qingrong absorbed it into his body to increase his strength. As he absorbed Xiong Bing's blood essence and saint energy, Zi Qingrong's aura began to increase rapidly. Early Nebula Realm, Middle Nebula Realm, Late Nebula Realm. Seeing that his strength had increased, Zi Qingrong sneered and said proudly, "Emo Qingyun, all of you will die today. No one can escape from me." Oh no, Zi Qingrong is devouring the blood ancestor's power. We must stop him immediately. Seeing Zi Qingrong's action, Emo Qingyun was shocked. He immediately shouted to An Chen, who was beside him, "An Chen, let's stop him. We can't let him devour power to increase his strength." Under Emo Qingyun's order, he took the lead and rushed out to attack Zi Qingrong. In Yang pupils, when Emo Qingyun rushed out, 2 rays of powerful light shot out from his eyes. The light shot out from his eyes, and it disappeared in a flash, and it blasted into Zi Qingrong's consciousness. After being hit by the light, Zi Qingrong's consciousness fainted, and the devouring power stopped. Chapter 2409. Rising Dragon Sword. When Emo Qingyun arrived in front of Zi Qingrong, he immediately took out the Tiger Soul and performed a superpower. When Emo Qingyun raised the Tiger Soul above his head, it emitted a dazzling golden light and condensed into a 100-meter-long saber light. When Emo Qingyun swung his saber, the 100-meter-long golden saber light turned into a golden dragon shadow and flew out. When the dragon shadow saber light approached, Zi Qingrong regained consciousness and a panicked look appeared on his face. Although Zi Qingrong was panicking, he didn't lose his composure. He quickly regained his composure and said, "Emo Qingyun, I admit that I underestimated you before and I paid a heavy price for it. You won't be so lucky from now on. Prepare to die obediently." As Zi Qingrong spoke, he casually raised his right palm and slapped the approaching dragon shadow saber light. When Zi Qingrong swung his palm, a domineering palm shadow blasted out from his palm. Boom! When the palm shadow hit the dragon shadow saber light, there was a loud explosion and the dragon shadow saber light was drowned out. When the loud explosion occurred, the dragon shadow saber light began to disperse and disappeared in the blink of an eye. So powerful! Zi Qingrong's current strength is vastly different from before. When Emo Qingyun saw Zi Qingrong's strength, he was shocked and his expression turned grave. He knew that he had missed the best opportunity to deal with Zi Qingrong. If he wanted to deal with Zi Qingrong now, it would be extremely difficult. While Emo Qingyun was still in shock, Chun performed a superpower and attacked Zi Qingrong without hesitation. Spirit Gate. Chen's hands moved quickly to form a mysterious handprint, and he tapped between his eyebrows. Then, a dazzling black light bloomed between Chen's eyebrows and turned into a black light gate. When the black light gate was formed, it flew toward Zi Qingrong like a black meteor. Boom! As the black light gate flew, it began to expand rapidly and turned into a huge gate in the blink of an eye. When Xintianguan Gate trapped Zi Qingrong inside, it released an astonishing devouring power, devouring Zi Qingrong's spirit power. Other than that, there were also many powerful spirits inside the black door of light. As soon as these powerful ghosts appeared, they attacked Zi Qingrong, which made him flustered for a while. After a short while, Zi Qingrong regained his footing and began to hunt down the ghosts in an overbearing manner. Big Dipper Nirvana Palm. After killing all the spirits around him, Zi Qingrong's attack didn't slow down at all. He threw another palm strike at the dark light gate. Zi Qingrong struck out with his right palm, and a black lightning palm shadow appeared, which crashed into the black light door. Bang! Under Zi Qingrong's palm, the black light door was shattered. In the blink of an eye, it disintegrated and disappeared. After shattering the black light door, Zi Qingrong sneered and said proudly, "Before my cultivation level increased, you might be able to pose a threat to me. But now it is far from enough. Master, what do we do now?" Seeing that his attack had failed, Chen's expression turned grave. He immediately asked for Mo Qingyun's opinion. Hearing Chen's question, Mo Qingyun frowned and thought about how to deal with Zi Qingrong. Bang! Bang! While Mo Qingyun was pondering, the dark demon puppet summoned by Zi Qingrong was killed by the spiritual puppets of the Heaven Saint sect. Seeing that the dark demon puppet was killed, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly, and his mood became slightly better. With the help of the 7 spiritual puppets of the Heaven Saint sect, it would be much easier to deal with Zi Qingrong. Even if they couldn't kill Zi Qingrong, it wouldn't be a problem to deal with him. Moreover, they could exhaust him slowly. This was because Zi Qingrong's power came from outside, and he couldn't fight for a long time. As long as they fought for a long time, Zi Qingrong wouldn't be able to continue fighting. In the end, he would be defeated by Mo Qingyun. The dark demon puppet is killed. Seeing that the dark demon puppet was killed, Zi Qingrong's face darkened. He realized that he was in a bad situation. He had devoured Xiong Ling's blood essence and saint power to increase his cultivation. However, there was a hidden danger. If he continued to fight for a long time, he would exhaust the power that he had plundered. At that time, he could only wait for his death. The situation is not good for me. I have to end this quickly. Realizing that he was in a bad situation, Zi Qingrong immediately made up his mind. He didn't want to talk nonsense with Mo Qingyun. Immediately, Zi Qingrong moved and took the initiative to attack Mo Qingyun. In his opinion, he had to take down the leader first. As long as he could take down Mo Qingyun, Chun and the rest wouldn't be a problem. You want to end this quickly? I won't give you the chance. Seeing that Zi Qingrong took the initiative to attack, Mo Qingyun saw through his intention. He gave the order to the spiritual puppets of the Heaven Saint sect. Under Mo Qingyun's order, the 7 spiritual puppets of the Heaven Saint sect immediately attacked Zi Qingrong. Suddenly, the imposing light gates rushed out from the glabella of the spiritual puppet. When the light gates rushed out, they emitted powerful auras and attacked Zi Qingrong. Being attacked by the 7 light gates, Zi Qingrong's escape route was blocked. He had no choice but to attack the light gates that were coming at him. What kind of tribe is this spiritual puppet? It has such a powerful bloodline and can perform such a powerful superpower. Facing the joint attack of the 7 spiritual puppets, Zi Qingrong's expression changed drastically. He was shocked. From what he knew, he had never seen such a powerful tribe like the spiritual puppet. Boom! Boom! Before Zi Qingrong could dodge, the 7 imposing light gates locked him in. Being attacked by the 7 light gates, Zi Qingrong was in a dangerous situation again. Although he was in a dangerous situation, Zi Qingrong was very calm. He didn't show any signs of panic. Bang! 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 Not long after, under Zi Qingrong's overbearing attack, the light gate that locked him up was destroyed again. After destroying the light gate that locked him up, Zi Qingrong was freed. He sneered proudly and said, "Emo Qingyun, if this is all you have, the battle should be over now." Emo Qingyun wasn't surprised that Zi Qingrong was freed again. He smiled faintly and said, "Zi Qingrong, your power is indeed beyond my imagination. But so what? Since I can't hurt you with one superpower, I will perform it 10 times, 100 times. I don't believe that you can withstand it all the time." After Emo Qingyun said that, he ordered the spiritual puppet and Enchun to continue to perform their superpower. After receiving Emo Qingyun's order, Enchun and the spiritual puppet immediately performed their superpower and attacked Zi Qingrong crazily. Seeing Emo Qingyun's action, Zi Qingrong was frightened. He was panicking instinctively. Facing the superpower that Enchun and the spiritual puppet performed, he wasn't confident that he could defeat them continuously. Chapter 24:10 Attack. Under Emo Qingyun's command, Enchun and the spiritual puppets from the Heavenly Sacred Sect launched another attack on Zi Qingrong. As Zi Qingrong's strength had skyrocketed, Enchun and the rest launched another attack. Their attacks were even fiercer. They had no choice. With Zi Qingrong's current strength, they could not underestimate him at all. As Enchun and the rest launched their attacks, powerful super skills were displayed one after another. One by one, imposing light gates appeared in the air and blasted toward Zi Qingrong. Facing the attacks of the light gates, Zi Qingrong's expression changed drastically. His expression became tense. He had just experienced the power of the light gates, and they posed a great threat to him. If he dared to underestimate them, he would have to pay a great price. He might even die here with a grudge. Boom! 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 Just as Zi Qingrong was in shock, 8 imposing light gates imprisoned him. As the light gates imprisoned Zi Qingrong, terrifying attacks bombarded him. Big Dipper Extermination Palm. Zi Qingrong was imprisoned by the light gate. He immediately threw out a palm and a huge palm shadow was blasted out. The huge thunderbolt palm shadow blasted out and it carried a shocking aura as it hit one of the light gate. Boom! After being hit by the thunderbolt palm shadow, the light gate let out a loud sound and cracks appeared on it. Immediately after, the light gate started to crumble and it disappeared in a short while. What shocking strength! Seeing the might of Zi Qingrong's palm strike, shock rose in Emo Qingyun's heart. His expression tensed up as he thought to himself, "Fortunately, I obtained the 7 orifices heaven-piercing exquisite pagoda in the Ice Palace. There, I obtained the spiritual puppets of the 7 heavenly holy factions." Emo Qingyun knew clearly that without the help of the spiritual puppets from the 7 heavenly sacred sects, he would be in a bad situation. Emo Qingyun suppressed the shock and fear in his heart. A cold smile appeared at the corners of his mouth. He said, "Zi Qingrong, since you can't kill us instantly, let us slowly exhaust you to death and let you feel despair bit by bit." "Inyang pupils," Emo Qingyun muttered to himself. He stopped watching and immediately attacked Zi Qingrong. Emo Qingyun's eyes flashed. 2 cold rays of light shot out from his eyes and shot towards Zi Qingrong with extreme speed. 2 beams of light flashed and passed through the 7 light doors. They instantly blasted into Zi Qingrong's sea of consciousness. Being attacked by the eye power, Zi Qingrong immediately felt dizzy, and his reaction slowed down by half a beat. Bang bang bang, or while Zi Qing was feeling dizzy, several attacks landed on his body and blasted him away. After being hit by several attacks, Zi Qingrong was severely injured. His blood and qi were in turmoil. "Puchi!" After Ziqing-rong stabilized his body, his face turned pale and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Ziqing-rong's eyes turned red as he stared at Emo Qingyun. He said angrily, "Emo Qingyun, you treacherous brat, if you have the ability, fight me head-on." He knew clearly that if he did not kill Emo Qingyun, he would be in a worse situation. Seeing Ziqing-rong glaring at him, Emo Qingyun guessed his thoughts. He smiled faintly and said, "Ziqing-rong, if you want to deal with me, you have to break through these light doors first." Under such a favorable situation, Emo Qingyun would not foolishly challenge Ziqing-rong to a one-on-one fight. As Emo Qingyun spoke, a long bow with an imposing aura appeared in his hand. Holding the long bow in his hand, Emo Qingyun pulled it into a full moon and quickly condensed several long arrows. Swoosh, 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 Emo Qingyun loosened his fingers, and several long arrows condensed by Saint Power shot through the air. The long arrows were extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, they entered the light doors and blasted toward Ziqing-rong. Faced with the attack of several long arrows, Ziqing-rong did not dare to take them head-on. He immediately dodged them. While Ziqing-rong was dodging the long arrows, the attacks from the 7 light doors fell on him again. After being attacked by the light doors again, Ziqing-rong's injuries became more serious, and his aura became unstable. "I can't just keep on defending. I have to take the initiative to attack." Under the attack of Emo Qingyun and the others, Ziqing-rong was injured again. He made a decision. With this thought, Ziqing-rong's face turned vicious. He gritted his teeth and shouted, "Emo Qingyun, since you want me to die, you have to pay the price." As Ziqing-rong's words fell, the aura he emitted immediately increased. He blew up the Saint Power star cluster. Now he's even more difficult to deal with. Sensing the change in Ziqing-rong's aura, Emo Qingyun was shocked. He was surprised by Ziqing-rong's madness. While Emo Qingyun was still in shock, Ziqing-rong broke through the 7 light doors and attacked him rapidly. He shouted, "Emo Qingyun, I'd like to see how you're going to fight with me now." "Humph, you're just making a last-ditch effort. It's too easy for me to deal with you." Looking at Ziqing-rong, who was getting closer and closer, Emo Qingyun did not panic. He immediately attacked Ziqing-rong. Death's Door. As Emo Qingyun spoke, a terrifying bloodline power burst out from his body. At the same time, a dark light door with a gloomy and cold aura quickly condensed at his fingertips. After the Death's Door was condensed, Emo Qingyun waved his arm and blasted it toward Ziqing-rong. With their galaxy-grade strength, this kind of superpower is useless against me. Do you think you can do anything to me? Seeing Emo Qingyun's divine ability, Ziqing-rong showed a disdainful expression. His eyes were filled with disdain. In his opinion, the superpower that Emo Qingyun was using was no different from that of Enchun and the others. In this way, Emo Qingyun's Death's Door seemed a little stupid. After thinking about it, Ziqing-rong did not even bother to dodge. He directly blasted his palm toward the Death's Door. Boom! As Ziqing-rong waved his palm, the Death's Door enveloped him and sealed him in another world. After being sealed by the Death's Door, Ziqing-rong panicked. He realized that something was wrong. The superpower that Emo Qingyun was using seemed similar to that of Enchun and the others, but its power was different. When Ziqing-rong realized that something was wrong, he realized that his life force had begun to drain rapidly. In a short while, his hands, arms, neck, and other parts of his body had turned gray. How could this be? What kind of superpower is this? Seeing the changes in his body, Ziqing-rong was finally scared. His eyes were wide open. While Ziqing-rong was shocked, he did not wait for his death. He immediately attacked the Death's Door frantically. Unfortunately, his attacks did not cause much damage to the Death's Door. Chapter 24:11. After Emo Qingyun finished his words, he did not launch another attack. He just looked at Zi Qingrong indifferently. It was not that he had given up on attacking, but Zi Qingrong was sealed by the death's door. He could not attack him even if he wanted to. The attacking method of the death's door was different from the superpowers of Enchun and the others. Once it was sealed, it would be isolated from the outside world. Then, any attack from the outside world would be blocked by the death's door. Although Zi Qingrong's strength has increased greatly, he is still weaker than the Orchid Willow Remnant spirit. He should not be able to break through the death's door. Looking at Zi Qingrong, who was inside the death's door, Emo Qingyun thought to himself. He was estimating Zi Qingrong's situation. Under Emo Qingyun's gaze, Zi Qingrong's face became paler and paler. His aura also became weaker and weaker. After realizing this, Emo Qingyun's heart, which had been hanging in the air, was slightly relieved. Zi Qingrong's cultivation had dropped. Even if he broke through the death's door, he would not be a threat. This cunning guy actually hid such a trick. Under the attack of the death's door, Zi Qingrong's aura became weaker and weaker. He started to panic. He had already realized that if he could not find a way out, he would be killed by the death's door. After understanding his situation, Zi Qingrong no longer hesitated and made a difficult decision. Emo Qingyun, I will remember what happened today. I will definitely pay you back tenfold in the future. After Zi Qingrong finished his words, he formed an ancient handprint and pointed it at his chest. Then, Zi Qingrong opened his arms and a dazzling light shone from his chest. He then shot it toward the sky. After the light burst out, the death's door was broken and it started to collapse. When the death's door collapsed, a transparent figure flew out from Zi Qingrong's body. Trying to escape? Seeing the figure, Emo Qingyun was shocked. He knew Zi Qingrong's plan. Then, Emo Qingyun raised his god shooter bow and aimed at the figure. Swoosh! 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 Emo Qingyun loosened his fingers and several flaming arrows flew out from the god shooter bow. Seeing several arrows flying towards him, the human shadow was shocked and immediately fled towards the ninth heaven. The human shadow's speed was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it had flown over 10,000 miles away, dodging the fire arrows. Escaped. Seeing that the human shadow had disappeared, Emo Qingyun frowned, feeling somewhat dissatisfied. This was not the result he wanted to see. After fighting with Zi Qingrong this time, he had a clear understanding of how difficult it was to deal with Zi Qingrong. Letting such an enemy escape was undoubtedly a very bad result, and it would cause him to be constantly on edge. Zi Qingrong used a secret technique to escape. He will have to pay a huge price. He will not be in trouble for a while. Emo Qingyun thought about it and felt much better. He did not think about Zi Qingrong anymore. After killing Zi Qingrong and the others, Emo Qingyun waved his arm and kept the spiritual puppets of the 7 great sacred sects. While keeping the 7 great spiritual puppets, Emo Qingyun also kept Enchun in the Soul Palace and looked towards the Palace of Creation. When Emo Qingyun looked at the Palace of Creation, ZK and the others who were guarding the Palace of Creation walked towards him. Zi Qingrong and the others were too strong. They could not participate in the battle and could only watch from the side. When ZK and the others came closer, Emo Qingyun noticed Han Liu in the crowd. He had successfully broken through his cultivation. ZK, Zi Qingrong and the others have been killed. You go and control the Dark Demon tribe. When he saw ZK arrive before him, Emo Qingyun didn't waste his breath and directly gave him an order. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, ZK was shocked and moved. He said, "Yes, I will not disappoint you. I will help you control the Dark Demon tribe." Seeing ZK's attitude, Emo Qingyun nodded with satisfaction. He looked at Ziyang and the others and said, "Ziyang, follow ZK back to the Dark Mainland and help him control the Dark Demon tribe." "Yes." Ziyang and the others responded and left with Z Quebec. They set off for the Dark Mainland. Seeing that ZK and the others had left, Emo Qingyun looked at Han Liu and ordered, Han Leo, take some people and clean up the battlefield. At the same time, order people to be more alert. After instructing Han Leo, Mo Qingyun walked into the Palace of Creation and headed towards the residence of the Mo clan. He wanted to tell everyone about Qian Linglong's departure. After Mo Qingyun entered the Palace of Creation, he summoned Udihai and the others and asked them to do their own things. After a while, Mo Qingyun arrived at the residence of the Mo clan. With Mo Qingyun's arrival, everyone immediately gathered and followed Mo Qingyun into the conference hall. Qingyun, why don't I see Linglong? Didn't she come back with you? Linglong went out with you. She didn't come back with you. Could it be? Don't think too much. Linglong didn't come back with Qingyun. She must have other things to deal with. As soon as everyone entered the main hall, their curiosity was piqued and they began to question Mo Qingyun. When they realized that Qian Linglong was missing, their expressions became tense and their hearts became heavy. They had a feeling that Qian Linglong might be the reason why Mo Qingyun had summoned them so urgently. Everyone, don't worry. Linglong is not in danger. Seeing everyone's reaction, Mo Qingyun smiled at them and comforted them. He said, Linglong had a fortuitous encounter when she went to the Nine Clouds' immortal realm. She obtained the inheritance of a super expert and entered a cultivation sacred ground. She won't be able to come back in a short time. I see. It's good that she's fine. It's good that she's fine. If that's the case, you and Linglong will be separated for a long time. Sigh. I still want to attend your wedding. It seems like it will be postponed again. After knowing that Qian Linglong was not in danger, everyone felt relieved but also a little regretful. After explaining to everyone, Mo Qingyun did not stop talking and said, I called all of you here not only to tell you about Linglong, but also to tell you that I will be in seclusion for a long time. Mo Qingyun thought that Qian Linglong's cultivation speed would definitely skyrocket after entering the mysterious Sky Holy Clan. If he did not seize the time to cultivate, he would be left behind by Qian Linglong. This was not something he wanted to see. More importantly, the Heaven Realm was an extremely high-level realm. If he wanted to enter the Heaven Realm, he must seize the time to cultivate. After hearing Mo Qingyun's words, everyone immediately nodded and remembered Mo Qingyun's words. Chapter 24:12 Dragonstone Galaxy in the vast starry sky. Two old men with solemn expressions were flying aimlessly, as if they were looking for something. After flying for a while, one of the old men in black had a doubtful expression and said, Elder Shi Yang, since the wild continent is in the Dragonstone Galaxy, why have we never discovered it? Is there a mistake in our information? Hearing the black-clothed old man's question, the blue-clothed old man by the side frowned. He pondered for a moment before replying, I am also unable to confirm this point. However, since it is recorded in the ancient books, it should not be fake. Hearing Shi Yang's answer, the old man in black sighed and said with a helpless expression, We have been searching for nearly half a month, and still have not found anything. We can't go on like this. Elder Shi Hong, don't be impatient. We will patiently search. Hearing the black-clothed old man's grumbling, Shi Yang consoled him and said, That kid called Mo Qingyun is too great of a threat. If we don't eliminate him, our clan won't be able to eat or sleep in peace. Not to mention that it's only been half a month, even if it takes 8 to 10 years, we still have to continue searching. Thinking of Mo Qingyun's threat, Shi Hong immediately fell silent and nodded in agreement with Shi Yang's words. While Shi Yang and the old man were talking, two dazzling dots of light attracted their attention. Elder Shi Yang, look ahead. What are those two dots of light? Seeing the two dots of light ahead, Shi Hong's expression changed and he immediately reminded Shi Yang beside him. Following the direction of Shi Hong's finger, Shi Yang saw the two dots of light and said in surprise, Strange, I have been here a few times. It is a dark and empty place. How can there be two dazzling dots of light? Elder Shi Yang, could those two dazzling dots of light be the eyes of a powerful starry sky demonic beast? Shi Hong's eyes turned and he immediately guessed the origin of the dots of light and told Shi Yang his thoughts. Hearing this, Shi Yang shook his head and a curious expression appeared on his face. He said, "There is a certain possibility of what you said, but we will have to go and take a look to know the specific situation." Okay. Shi Hong nodded and revealed a curious expression. He followed Shi Yang and approached the light spot. When the two of them approached the light spot, their expressions turned solemn as they raised their vigilance. They were worried that the two dazzling light spots might really be the eyes of a powerful starry sky demonic beast. With their strength, if they accidentally offended the other party, the consequences would be unimaginable. After all, for a demonic beast to have such eyes, its strength was absolutely terrifying. As time passed, Shi Yang and Shi Yang got closer and closer to the light spot, and their expressions became more and more solemn. An hour later, under Shi Yang's careful haste, they arrived above the two light spots and saw the full appearance of the two light spots. After discovering the full appearance of the two dots of light, Shi Yang and Shi Yang looked at each other and saw the astonishment on each other's faces. The two dazzling light spots were not the eyes of a demonic beast, but a gap in the boundary. Standing above the two light spots, Shi Yang looked at the two light spots and revealed a thoughtful expression. He said, "From the scene in front of us, there seems to be a low-level continent sealed inside the boundary. To be able to seal a continent, this person's strength must be earth-shattering." A continent sealed? Shi Hong's eyes lit up as a bold idea appeared in his mind. He said excitedly, "Elder Shi Yang, do you think the continent inside the boundary could be the desolate continent? Maybe it is possible." Hearing Shi Hong's idea, Shi Yang's expression immediately trembled and his face revealed excitement. He said, "The desolate continent is in the Dragonstone Galaxy, and we have been unable to find it. It must be isolated by some kind of boundary. The situation of the continent in front of us fits this condition." Shi Yang and Shi Yang discussed for a while, and then flew towards the two light spots with strong expectations. Soon, Shi Yang and Shi Yang passed through the light spots and arrived on a vast continent. What thin heaven and earth spiritual energy! When they arrived on this continent, Shi Hong clicked his tongue and revealed a disdainful expression. He said, "The heaven and earth spiritual energy on this continent is at least 100 times thinner than our heavenly dipper continent. In this kind of cultivation environment, I'm afraid there aren't many Saint Realm cultivators. Don't pay attention to this for now. Find someone and ask what continent this is." Shi Yang did not pay attention to Shi Hong's words and immediately flew forward. Seeing Shi Yang's action, Shi Hong did not say anything and silently followed behind Shi Yang. On the Fortune mainland, Peng Peng Peng, Mo Qingyun, who was in the middle of cultivation, suddenly felt his eyelids twitching and a strong sense of uneasiness rose in his heart. This feeling of uneasiness awakened Mo Qingyun from his cultivation. His expression was solemn and his brows were tightly knitted together. "What's going on? Why do I suddenly feel uneasy?" Mo Qingyun pondered for a while and became puzzled. He thought to himself, could it be that Zi Qingrong has some trump card that he wants to harm the Fortune Immortal Palace? When this thought appeared, Mo Qingyun immediately dismissed it. He felt that it was a little unrealistic. If Zi Qingrong really had a trump card, he wouldn't hide it and not use it in the face of life and death. Since it's not Zi Qingrong, could it be the Heavenly Dipper Dragon Stone race? After eliminating Zi Qingrong, Mo Qingyun began to think again and linked it to the Heavenly Dipper Dragon Stone race. However, Mo Qingyun quickly rejected this idea and shook his head. It can't be the Heavenly Dipper Dragon Stone race. If it was the Heavenly Dipper Dragon Stone race, Shi Xiao wouldn't have brought only Nebula Realm experts when she attacked the Fortune Immortal Palace. After thinking hard for a while, Emo Qingyun's mind moved and he thought of a way. Oh right, I can use the spiritual turtle transformation to predict the future. When this idea popped up, Emo Qingyun didn't delay any longer and immediately used the spiritual turtle transformation. Then, a huge Xuanwu shadow appeared outside of Emo Qingyun's body. The spiritual turtle transformation. After using the spiritual turtle transformation, Emo Qingyun began to use its ability to predict the upcoming danger. After a while, a blurry image appeared in front of Emo Qingyun's eyes. In the image, a black-robed old man and a blue-robed old man arrived at the Sky Soul Demon race's territory. When the two of them entered the Heavenly Soul Demon race, they captured Tenchu and the others and interrogated them domineeringly. From the image, the two of them should be above the nebula realm. Emo Qingyun silently speculated. His expression turned serious and he couldn't help but feel worried. He said, "It seems that the strong uneasiness in my heart has something to do with the Heavenly Soul Demon race." Chapter 24:13. There are some pedestrians ahead. Let's chase after them and ask. As Shi Yang and the other man searched, they encountered a group of people and immediately chased after them. Shi Yang and the other man's figures flashed a few times. They caught up with the group of people and blocked their path. Stop! After blocking the group of people, Shi Hong released his aura and said in an arrogant manner, "I'll ask you a few questions. Answer me honestly. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite." Under the pressure of Shi Hong's aura, the group of people were shocked. Their faces paled and they broke out in cold sweat. Shi Yang and the other man's aura was too terrifying. Under their aura, even breathing became difficult. Say, "Senior, feel free to ask anything. I'll definitely answer you truthfully." Discovering Shi Hong and the other man's strength, the group of people panicked and hurriedly begged Shi Hong. Seeing their attitudes, Shi Hong nodded in satisfaction and asked, "What continent is this? Is there a kid called Emo Qingyun?" Emo Qingyun? Hearing Shi Hong's question, the leader of this group of people had a look of shock on his face. Seeing this person's reaction, Shi Hong and the other man were stunned. They discovered that something was wrong. Looking at this person's current behavior, it was clear that he knew Emo Qingyun. This discovery made Shi Hong and the other man pleasantly surprised. This was really an unexpected gain. At this moment, if Emo Qingyun was here, he would definitely recognize this group of people. This group of people were the experts of the Bagua clan. As for the person who answered the question, it was the Great Void Heaven Fire Formation Sect's Grand Elder, the ancestor of the Bagua clan, Tai Yueying. "You know Emo Qingyun?" Noticing that something was wrong with Tai Yueying, Shi Hong immediately asked with a domineering attitude. Under the pressure of Shi Hong's aura, Tai Yueying immediately panicked and said, "Senior, I don't know if the Emo Qingyun you're talking about is the one I know. If you want to confirm it, you can make a trip to the Heavenly Soul Demon clan." Heavenly Soul Demons? Shi Yang frowned. The curiosity on his face deepened as he said, "Tell us everything you know about Emo Qingyun. Don't leave out anything." Yes. Under Shi Yang's instructions, Tai Yueying did not dare to hide anything. She recounted everything in detail before saying, "Senior, I have already told you everything I know." After listening to Tai Yueying's narration, the faces of Shi Yang and Shi Yang were immediately filled with pleasant surprise. They were certain that the Emo Qingyun mentioned by Tai Yueying was the person they were looking for. Of course, while the two of them were pleasantly surprised, their hearts were also filled with shock. They had already overestimated Emo Qingyun, but they had still underestimated Emo Qingyun's talent in cultivation. It's really a case of searching high and low for something, only to find it by chance. Shi Hong sneered complacently after confirming that this was the Wasteland continent and that he had news about Emo Qingyun. He said, "I never thought that we would find the Wasteland continent by coincidence. Elder Shi, what do we do now that we've found the wasteland continent? Now that he knew Emo Qingyun's identity, Shi had an inquiring expression on his face as he asked for Shi Yang's opinion. Shi hesitated when he heard Shi question. He thought about what to do next. After a moment of consideration, Shi made a decision. He said, Emo Qingyun's cultivation speed is too fast. We can't give him the time to cultivate. Let's go to the wasteland continent right now. Alright. Shi immediately nodded in agreement when he heard Shi Yang's decision. He looked at Tai Yuang and said, Since you know about Emo Qingyun's identity, you should know the path to the Heavenly Soul Demon Clan. Lead the way for us. Yes. Tai Yuang did not dare to disobey Shi orders. She immediately nodded in agreement. Tai Yuang looked at her clansmen after agreeing to Shi orders. She said, I'm going to the Heavenly Soul Demon Clan with the 2 seniors. You can all return to your clansmen. Yes, Ancestor Yuang. Everyone replied before turning around and leaving. Shi Yang and Tai Yuang did not want to waste any more time after the people from the 8 Trigrams clan had left. They nodded at Tai Yuang and said, All right, let's not waste any more time. Lead the way. Yes. Under Shi Yang's command, Tai Yuang immediately nodded and led the way for the 2 of them. Tai Yuang sneered when she led the way for the 2 of them. She said, Emo Qingyun, the enmity of you killing my clansmen can finally be settled. Tai Yuang had already discovered that the 2 of them had enmity with Emo Qingyun from their conversation earlier. In her opinion, it was too easy for the 2 of them to deal with Emo Qingyun. When Tai Yuang thought of this, the complacency in her heart became even stronger. After that, Tai Yuang rushed toward the Heavenly Soul Demons with a look of anticipation. On the Fortune mainland. That person seems to be the Great Void Heavenly Fire Array Sex Tai Yuang. Under Emo Qingyun's observation, he saw a familiar figure in the image of the Gui Ling. Emo Qingyun's expression turned solemn when he realized this, and the worry in his heart intensified. He said worriedly, with the enmity between me and Tai Yuang, if he brings the 2 of them to the Heavenly Soul Demon Clan, he will definitely slaughter them to avenge Tai Qinghan and the others. No, I have to return to the Heavenly Soul Demon Clan. When Emo Qingyun thought of this, he became anxious and decided to rush to the Heavenly Soul Demon Clan immediately. Then, Emo Qingyun stopped cultivating and left the Fortune mainland in a flicker. After Emo Qingyun left the Fortune mainland, he gathered everyone and told them his thoughts. Shortly after, Han Liu and the others gathered in the main hall. I have gathered all of you here because I have something to tell you. Seeing that everyone was here, Emo Qingyun did not beat around the bush and said directly, I have deduced that the Heavenly Soul Demon Clan is about to face a great crisis. I have to make a trip to the Heavenly Soul Demon Clan immediately. While I am away, Han Liu will be in charge of everything in the palace. Master, this. Hearing Emo Qingyun's order, Han Liu's body trembled, and a look of surprise appeared on his face. Previously, ZK and Qian Linglong were in charge of the Fortune Immortal Palace. Now that he was suddenly in charge, he was not used to it. All right, there is no need to discuss this matter. I believe in your ability. Emo Qingyun directly rejected Han Liu's reaction and gave him an encouraging look. Seeing Emo Qingyun's decision, Han Liu did not say anything else and immediately nodded at Emo Qingyun. Chapter 24:14. After giving Han Liu the order, Emo Qingyun tapped his glabella and summoned Enchun. The Celestial Dragon Rock clan was very powerful. In case Han Liu and the others could not contend with them, it was better to leave Enchun behind. After all, with Enchun's strength, as long as he was not at the complete galaxy grade, he could contend with him. After summoning Enchun, Emo Qingyun did not beat around the bush and directly ordered him, Enchun, I'm going to leave the Celestial Palace of Fortune for a while. During this time, you will guard the Celestial Palace of Fortune for me. Yes. Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's order, An Chen nodded. Mo Qingyun gave Han Liu and Li Chia their orders, and then left after assigning some trivial matters to Han Liu. The Heavenly Soul Demon clan was in a bad situation. He could not waste too much time and had to rush over immediately. After coming out of the Palace of Creation, Mo Qingyun took out the flying boat and controlled it to rush to the Heavenly Soul Demon clan. With my current speed, it will take about half a month to reach the Heavenly Soul Demon clan. During the journey, Mo Qingyun was calculating the time it would take to reach the Heavenly Soul Demon clan. After knowing the time it would take to reach the Heavenly Soul Demon clan, Mo Qingyun immersed himself in cultivation and controlled the flying boat with a strand of his mind. As Mo Qingyun immersed himself in cultivation, he condensed the saint power in his body and condensed saint power star clusters. After breaking through to the later stage of the saint realm, he did not have time to cultivate and condense new saint power star clusters. Now that he was on the way to the Heavenly Soul Demon clan, he could condense saint power star clusters and improve his strength. Under Mo Qingyun's cultivation, the number of saint power star clusters that he condensed kept increasing. Half a day later, the number of saint power star clusters that Mo Qingyun condensed reached 3,000. 3 days later, 7,000. 10 days later, 18,000. 12 days later, Mo Qingyun exited his cultivation, and a look of pleasant surprise appeared on his face. After 12 days of cultivation, the number of saint power star clusters that he condensed finally reached a limit. 20,000 saint power star clusters. Looking at the number of saint power star clusters outside his body, Mo Qingyun was pleasantly surprised and excited. In the same realm, even if the number of saint power star clusters that others had condensed had reached a certain limit, he would still have twice as many as the others. We've already reached the territory of the Heavenly Soul Demons. Withdrawing from his cultivation, Mo Qingyun released his soul force to sense his location. Mo Qingyun revealed a delighted smile when he understood where he was. He rejoiced inwardly. I never thought that I would reach the territory of the Heavenly Soul Demons in just 12 days. It's much faster than I expected. While Mo Qingyun was overjoyed, his heart was also filled with anticipation. He couldn't wait to see the divine craftsman of Burning Sword and the others. At this moment, in the headquarters of the Heavenly Soul Demon clan, the three silhouettes approached rapidly, emitting powerful auras that enveloped the entire main clan. Sensing these three people's auras, Tian Song and the others immediately came out and looked at the sky in shock. What powerful auras? Are those two Nebula Realm powerhouses? Not only are they Nebula Realm powerhouses, but they aren't ordinary ones either. What are these people doing in our clan? What should we do if they want to harm our clan? Everyone, don't panic. Let's just wait and see. Tian Song and the others whispered to each other. They suppressed the panic in their hearts and looked at the three people in the sky approaching. Under the gaze of Tian Song and the others, Shi Yang and the other two approached. Tai Yuang took the initiative to step forward and shouted, "All of you, listen carefully. If you don't want to displease the two seniors, immediately hand over Mo Qingyun." They're here for Qingyun? Hearing Tai Yuang's words, Tian Song and the others were stunned for a moment before realization dawned on them. In that case, the arrival of Tai Yuang and the other two could be explained. Knowing the purpose of the three people's visit, Tian Song and the others immediately tensed up. They could tell that Tai Yuang and the other two had come with ill intentions. "Seniors, may I know why you're looking for Qingyun?" Suppressing the panic in his heart, Tian Song walked out of the crowd and asked Shi Yang and the others about their visit. Hearing Tian Song's question, Shi Hong's face turned cold and he said unhappily, "You don't have the right to know why we're looking for Mo Qingyun. Ask Mo Qingyun to come out and see me." Seeing Shi Hong's attitude, Tian Song and the others trembled and the uneasiness in their hearts grew stronger. Obviously, the situation was much worse than they had imagined. To be honest, Qin Yun has left the Heavenly Soul Demon clan long ago. We don't know where he is. Suppressing the panic and worry in his heart, Tian Song explained to Shi Hong. Then, he suggested to Shi Hong, "Why don't you tell me the purpose of your visit first? When Qin Yun returns, I'll pass on your message to him. How about that?" "Old man, Senior wants to kill Mo Qin Yun. When the time comes, will you still pass on the message to him?" Hearing Tian Song's suggestion, before Shi Hong and the other two could respond, Tai Yueing took the initiative to question him. Under Tai Yueing's questioning, Tian Song immediately stopped talking and his face darkened. If that was the case, when Mo Qin Yun returned to the clan, he really would not tell Mo Qin Yun. "Mo Qin Yun is not here?" Hearing Tian Song's answer, Shi Yang and the other two exchanged a look. They were surprised by this result. They could tell that there was no falsehood in Tian Song's words. Could Mo Qin Yun have foresight and know that we're going to deal with him? That's impossible. That brat must have been lucky enough to escape our pursuit. Oh right, I heard from Shi Xiao that he created a force called the Immortal Palace of Creation. It seems that he should be in the Immortal Palace of Creation. I've overlooked this point. After talking for a while, Shi Yang and the other two thought of an important piece of information. Realization dawned on them. After learning that Mo Qin Yun was not here, Shi Hong was slightly displeased. He said, "Since Mo Qin Yun is not here, there's no point in us staying here. Why don't we slaughter the entire Heavenly Soul Demon clan and then go to the Immortal Palace of Creation to find him?" "No." Hearing Shi Hong's thoughts, Shi Yang immediately stopped him. He said in a deep voice, "If we slaughter the entire Heavenly Soul Demon clan, we'll only alert the enemy and scare Mo Qin Yun away. This is not a wise move." After listening to Shi Yang's analysis, Shi Hong nodded. He discovered that he had been too rash. "How about this? You stay here and wait for Mo Qin Yun to return. I'll go to the Immortal Palace of Creation." Shi Yang pondered for a moment before he came up with a plan. He immediately explained it to Shi Hong. Chapter 24:15. Before I leave, send the location of the savage continent to the clan. Shi Yang made his decision. He spoke to Shi Hong and set up a secret technique. Shi Hong did not hesitate at all when he saw Shi Yang's actions. He immediately assisted Shi Yang from the side. Afterwards, one strange and complicated hand seal after another was formed from Shi Yang and Shi Yang's hands. When the hand seals were formed, they gave off a shocking aura, forcing Tian Song and the others to retreat. What powerful techniques! Where did these two people come from? How can there be people like them on the savage continent? Under the pressure of the hand seals, Tian Song was forced to retreat. The shock on his face grew even heavier. Everyone was shocked when they heard Tian Song's words. The fear in their eyes grew even more intense. Afterwards, under the shocked gazes of Tian Song and the others, a strange formation was completed. Once the formation was completed, a figure appeared in it. He seemed to be looking down on the world. "Clan leader, we've found the savage continent. It's between the Qihan continent and the Haiyue continent." Seeing the figure appear in the formation, Shi Yang reported the location of the savage continent to him. After listening to Shi Yang's report, the figure in the formation was overjoyed. He became excited and said, "Elder Shi Yang, the two of you have done well. I'll send people to support you immediately." As the sound of Shi Bahai's voice faded, his silhouette dissipated as he went to send reinforcements to Shi Yang and the young man. "Since that's the case, I'll be leaving." After reporting to Shi Bahai, Shi Yang was unwilling to stay any longer. He immediately set off for the Palace of Creation. Shi Hong's face turned cold when he saw Shi Yang leave. He glanced at Tian Song and the others and said, "Don't say I didn't give you a chance. From now on, none of you are allowed to leave. Otherwise, don't blame me for starting a massacre." We wouldn't dare. Hearing Shi Hong's order, Tian Song and the others trembled. Their faces were filled with reverence. Seeing Tian Song and the others' attitude, Shi Hong nodded in satisfaction and walked into the main clan. Not long after, under Shi Hong's forceful request, Tian Song and the others were all imprisoned. After locking up Tian Song and the others, Shi Hong left the cell with satisfaction. He said to Tai Yueying, "Keep an eye on them. If one of them escapes, don't blame me for holding you responsible. Junior will definitely remember Senior's instructions. There will definitely not be the slightest mistake. Not even a fly will be allowed in." Hearing Shi Hong's instructions, Tai Yueying immediately promised with a solemn look. Seeing Tai Yueying's performance, Shi Hong nodded with satisfaction. He then stood up and left the cell. After watching Shi Hong leave the prison, Tai Yueying sat down cross-legged outside the prison to watch over Tian Song and the others. After Tian Song and the others were imprisoned, peace was restored in the main clan. It was as if nothing had happened. In a region near the main clan, suddenly, a figure with an astonishing aura flew over Mo Qinyun. Sensing the powerful aura, Mo Qinyun, who was controlling the flying boat, was shocked. What a powerful aura! It should be at the intermediate galaxy grade. I didn't expect the person who invaded the Sky Soul Demon tribe to be so powerful. Mo Qinyun's worry immediately intensified when he sensed the powerful aura of this person. Immediately after, Mo Qinyun steered the flying boat and rushed towards the main branch at top speed. A few hours later, Mo Qinyun arrived at the main clan as he traveled at full speed. After entering the main clan, Mo Qinyun did not search immediately. Instead, he pondered and said, "If I'm not wrong, Tai Yueying should have set up a trap and is waiting for me to enter. I can't alarm them." When Mo Qinyun thought of this, his mind began to work. He wanted to find a foolproof plan. After pondering for a while, Mo Qinyun came up with a good idea. A faint smile appeared on the corners of his mouth as he said, "I'll use the myriad transformations to change my appearance and search the headquarters. Tai Yueying and the others shouldn't be able to detect it." 10,000 mammoth change. As Mo Qinyun thought of this, he turned his body and turned into an ordinary fly. In Mo Qinyun's opinion, the most ordinary fly would definitely not attract Tai Yueying's attention. After Mo Qinyun turned into a fly, he turned into a streak of light and started searching the main clan. Mo Qinyun did this not because he was afraid of Tai Yueying. Instead, he was worried that Tian Song and the others would not be safe if he directly confronted Tai Yueying and the others. After searching for a while, Mo Qinyun found that Tian Song and the others had disappeared. This made him even more worried. What made Mo Qinyun feel slightly relieved was that the Divine Craftsman's sneezing sword and the others were not in danger. They were all in seclusion in their own residences. Presumably, the Divine Craftsman's sneezing sword and the others' cultivation realm was not high enough to attract the attention of Tai Yueying and the others. After circling the main clan, Mo Qinyun came to Tenchu Palace to ask Tenchu about the situation. "Ancestor Tenchu, what's the situation in the clan now? Where did Ancestor Tian Song and the others go?" When Mo Qinyun came to Tenchu Palace, he transmitted a message to Tenchu and asked about everyone's situation. In Mo Qinyun's view, Tenchu's special situation should not be noticed by Tai Yueying. Sure enough, Tenchu received Mo Qinyun's message. He immediately showed himself and said in surprise, "Qinyun, are you back?" "Yes, the little fly in front of you is me using the divine ability transformation." Hearing Tenchu's question, Mo Qinyun immediately answered and revealed his current appearance. Tenchu showed a look of surprise when he heard Mo Qinyun's answer. He couldn't help but look at Mo Qinyun a few more times before saying, "It's great that you're back. Ancestor Tian Song and the others are imprisoned in the dungeon and are guarded by a sage perfection expert." "Okay, I got it. I'll go take a look." After knowing the situation of Tian Song and the others, Mo Qingyun didn't want to delay and immediately rushed to the dungeon. Tenchu Palace wasn't far from the dungeon. Mo Qingyun soon arrived outside the dungeon and saw Tai Yueying guarding the entrance. After sizing up Tai Yueying, Mo Qingyun ignored him and flashed into the dungeon. It wasn't difficult for him to deal with Tai Yueying. It wouldn't be too late to deal with Tai Yueying after ensuring everyone's safety. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed a few times before he entered the dungeon and saw Tian Song and the others imprisoned. If Tai Yueying knew that Mo Qingyun had entered the dungeon so easily in front of him, he wouldn't be surprised. Presumably, his feelings must be very complicated. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.